Did you ever hear about the guy who was killing deer hunters down there?
No.
Okay, so there was
sounds scary.
Yeah.
What?
So there was a guy in the woods in Coshocton area with a rifle during deer season, and he was shooting deer hunters. And he was living in these old abandoned houses. Swear to God, he was living in these old.
Text my buddy about that.
Yeah.
When was that? Back in the day.
Back in the day, like so. But getting to the story, the end of the story here. So he would stay in these old abandoned houses in the woods. That's what reminded me was that cabin you're talking. And he would light them. Like he would set them on fire when he would go to like find his next spot. And one of those places was on this place that we hunted. All that was left was the chimney. He's like, yeah, he torched that one, and he went around just shooting deer hunters.
Welcome to the Just Hunt podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Just Hunt Pod. We are on episode 12. And today we have Mr. Izaak Young. We'll get on him for a second. Matt has to say his piece.
For anybody who's listening on Apple Podcast, whenever we talk about hunts, you can go check us out on YouTube or Spotify. We have video on there. We record all our podcasts. Whenever we talk about hunts, we usually throw clips from old hunts and stuff in there.
Which is kind of cool to see.
Yeah, which is...
You know what we're talking about at least.
Right, so you can see the deer we're talking about, see hunts, everything like that. So obviously if you're driving to and from work, I get it. But if you're ever at home or bored at the office and you're listening, you can throw the video up on there too.
Cool. Cheers, sir.
Cheers. Here we are.
Thanks for coming by. It's a Friday evening, so the rule is in-person guests on Friday or the weekend. Sometimes we'll go with an adult beverage, so we're going to do that a little bit here tonight. So, So you kind of made a trip over to do this, but then you also did some scouting today, right? Kind of dual purposed it. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, this weekend I'm going to kind of use my time over here to check some areas that I've hunted in the past and possibly pick up some sheds. If not, gain some intel that I could use in the future.
Yeah,
possibly. It's
a good time of year to be in the woods for sure. Snow's getting off most places. This is like the time that I think it's the best time to scout. Personally, right now.
Oh yeah,
it's like my favorite. Maybe like right after the season, before the snow comes.
Right.
But a lot of times there is no.
There's
snow before the end of the season, right? So this is my favorite time. Unfortunately, I'm always like so busy this time of year, and then I get distracted by turkeys. I used to say that was my biggest hole in my whitetail game was turkey.
Really?
Yeah, because I just didn't do like scouting now. It's the best time. Like you can see everything. You can see all the sign from last year. You can get, it's not hot, it's not buggy, there's not shit growing up everywhere. You can get everywhere quick. And I really like being able to see the topography, because when you get the leaves on, you don't get a feel. Like you can look at a map and you get a feel for it, but like when you can sit there and like look down over it and like see where everything comes together, I think that's a important aspect of it. So
you miss a lot with the leaves on. You can't see as much. You're kind of like tunnel vision.
Yeah.
But you should start turkey hunting like I do.
I know.
I deer scout with my turkey gun on my shoulder, and if I hear one, I make a move on them. But
I know.
You ever picked up a shed while you're turkey hunting?
I never have.
No.
But I look real hard. I really do. Half of my mornings turkey hunting, I'm looking for sheds. I promise you.
The thing that I struggle with is the areas that I turkey hunt and the areas I deer hunt are very different. It's like not even, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not that there's not deer where I turkey hunt or turkey where I deer hunt, but there's just
different
way
areas.
less turkeys where I deer hunt, and
the
areas where there's the most turkeys I just do not want to mess with during deer season, because there's too many people and it's more fields and closer to houses and all that stuff. So
I will say where I turkey hunt, there's not a lot of turkeys.
Yeah,
because I am scouting for deer.
Yeah,
but usually when I hear one gobble, because that's he's
Yep.
coming. Like get ready, he's coming quick.
Oh yeah.
And
because there's not many
fun.
people probably in those areas turkey hunting.
I don't necessarily like to play the game like some guys do.
Yeah,
I like them when they come in.
Just like when they come in, screaming and you shoot them in the face.
It's fun. Yeah.
So I guess you want to introduce yourself briefly. If you guys, anybody has followed kind of the Northeast, definitely YouTube and tracking, filming scene, you have a YouTube channel. You have some pretty sweet videos. And how long have you been putting content on that channel for? It's been a few years
About
now,
5 years.
Yeah. I remember the first thing I saw of you was that New Hampshire buck you killed tracking. and I was like, who is this crazy dude running around with a bucket hat on? And then like I watch him, like, oh, he's into it. Like he's for real. Like, I was like, that's sweet. And that was a really nice buck he killed too.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, that was the first time I remember, and I've been kind of following your stuff ever since. You've killed some freaking beauties.
Yeah, I've been lucky to kill 2 really big ones on film, and that's kind of what has helped the channel out a lot.
Oh yeah.
Because unfortunately, it's hard to get traction on a YouTube channel with 100 inchers, and I shoot 100 inchers. I'm not saying that I won't. It's just I've been very fortunate because I think that did help me elevate.
So let's go way back. So you grew up in Vermont, still live in Vermont. What was it like? What was the hunting like in your family? And like, has it changed much in your family, and then just like the herd and the habitat and the culture since you like you remember? Because how old are you?
I'm 29.
29. So it's been a bit since you started hunting.
Yeah, about 20 years, 21. Yeah. I mean, I would say the deer hunting in the area that I grew up in has improved.
Yeah.
The bucks are getting better. But I guess a little bit about my family. My dad is a diehard deer hunter. That's why I am the way I am. He grew up on a dairy farm. His dad never deer hunted, but he just milked cows. But then my dad got into hunting and had a really nice piece of ground to do it on because they had to farm. And so I mean that's how I got into it. And you know, it's been a lot of fun being able to hunt with my dad on our property, and you know, growing up through the years. And
is that kind of where you learned to hunt?
Yeah, 100%. Until I got my driver's license. When I got my driver's license, that's when I started branching off. And then I never really hunted it again. Kind of funny enough.
Well, I feel like, you know, I have definitely not a similar story like when I started, but up until actually probably tomorrow, I've owned land in New Hampshire, kind of managed it, whatever, had private land, and really just like honestly didn't hunt it that much. I would like have it and it was awesome, but I don't really never got really serious about that piece of land, and just wanted to go, you know, really bigger woods, and like not like there's, I mean, it was private land, so there's not a lot of people, but just a lot of people hunting around, and just like smaller, I call it like, I don't know, it's probably medium woods is what I'd call where it was. So I can appreciate, you know, like, you know, having that land and having it available to you, but then like really not focusing on it. And I feel like, man, in the Northeast, particularly New England, like, I don't know, having private land sometimes is just not it. It's not the thing. You know what I mean? Like, it can be good in certain circumstances, but
if you put all your eggs in that basket, you can be very limited if the deer just aren't there.
100%.
So.
Yeah, I mean, I think the deer in the Northeast in general, they move so much. You would really need to have like 5,000 acres to manage it correctly, you know? But.
Yeah, it's just not like, you know, it's not really the thing, like I said.
No.
I mean, that's partially why I'm selling some of my land, because
the wanderlust.
You got a neighbor that kills pretty much everything, which is common.
Yeah, and it's just never, I mean, there's some good deer, and we've had some good hunts, don't get me wrong, but like you think about the amount of effort put in, and the time, and it's just like the payoff isn't there. And I used to live on that property. We moved, so it's I don't get over there as much. And if like, hey, if I'm going to drive to hunt, I'm not going to drive over there. I'm going to drive to the mountains or bigger woods and hunt where I kind of really prefer. So it sounds like you are in a similar situation when it comes to that.
Yeah. No, I was just kind of born with the wanderlust mentality.
Yeah.
I just I love stepping on new ground all the time, and I was always really drawn to tracking.
Yep.
So can't do that on private property really, because you're gonna
unless it's a super short track.
Right, which can happen. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I was just always really captivated, I guess is a good word, by the big mountains. You know, the big tall mountains. That's just what I was drawn to.
Did your dad track? Or does he track?
Yeah, so he did, but he definitely favored hunting the farm.
Yeah, okay.
You know, he grew up hunting the farm, and in the 70s and 80s, the hunting was much better. And I guess that is kind of a cultural thing that I didn't hit on when you asked me before, is that when you grow up with a piece of property in that area, a lot of guys, I mean, they'll hunt it.
Yeah.
And that's what they know, and they shoot a buck off it every year, and that's just kind of their stomping grounds. Yeah. And he would go around and track and go to other places and stuff, but he also had a kid a lot younger than I am now. Even he had a kid at 21, so I think that kind of honed it. He couldn't do what I do.
Yeah, sure.
If that makes sense. But
it takes a lot of time.
Does your family still have the farm?
So it's actually. It's all been kind of divided up. Mm-hmm. My uncle got the dairy farm. My dad always did the sugaring. So my uncle got the fields and the dairy farm. My father got the woodlot when my grandfather died. Mm-hmm. So altogether it was upwards of 400, but we ended up with a little over 200 with the woodlot. So
nice.
Yeah, we still have it, and hopefully, I mean, we've had it for, I want to say I would be the 10th generation.
No That's shit.
Awesome. So
really?
It's been
10?
10.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
That's really cool. I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really neat.
And it was a working dairy farm up until my uncle passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. He passed away, and then it only went a couple years, and then they sold the cows. But
who owns that still? The dairy operation? Or is the dairy operation done?
The dairy operation's done.
Yeah.
But my cousin Chelsea, she's a year younger than I am. She bought a lot of that and is living on it now.
Oh, nice.
So
that's
hopefully she can do something with the farm. Yeah, I mean,
even if it's not farming, just keep it in the family.
She's going to keep it. She's going to live there. But I would just like to see him do beefers or something, just utilize all the barns and stuff.
Yeah.
My uncle was
keep up with everything. That's the hardest part, I feel like.
My uncle was a really good businessman when it comes to the farming side of things. He had really nice equipment and stuff. Mm-hmm. He died 42 of cancer, so really kind of a sad story there. But he was just a good businessman. I'll put it like that. So, but everything happens. But
so so you said when you got your license you started wandering. So 16, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Did that coincide? Have you been? Because I think you're pretty. Like you said, you'll shoot a deer that makes you happy, but you definitely, I know you're looking for real big bucks.
Yeah, so
and not that that's the only thing you'll shoot, but I know. When did that start? What point in?
I've always been that way ever since I was 16. I've evolved from then. Sure. When I was 16, 17, 18, I was killing everything I saw that had horns.
Yeah.
And I killed a lot of 3-pointers.
Yeah.
I have a whole section on my wall full of them. And, now it's a little different. I would say I am always trying to locate and be around big deer. Yeah. But if I see a 3-year-old, I hunt so many states. And right now, I guess what I'm really truly after is not mature bucks. It's more of abundance is what I'm after. Yeah. I just want to fill tags.
Yeah.
And so I put myself in areas where there's big deer. But if I see a 100-inch 3-year-old, chances are he's going home with me.
Yeah, I gotcha.
So
the thing I see from a lot of track, because I think you're, we'll say unique, in the minority to an extent. I see the guys that are super, and I know you are to an extent fixated on tracking, but then that's all they do.
Yep.
And I know that's not all you do, and that's interesting.
Yep.
What is your what's your game plan? I guess is it just are you an opportunist, or are you hey, I really want to save a tag for tracking, or what's your priorities? Because I know for me, I will track 100%. I do, and I've been successful doing it, and I will use it as a tool. But it's in my mind, it has to be my very best chance to kill the deer I'm after. Right. If I don't think it is, I'm going to do something. And that's kind of my thing throughout the season is all right, what's the best chance right now? What's the best chance? And when we get snow and it's the right time of year, I'm all right, let's go. But I know other guys are hey, I could sit in a stand if there's 4 inches of fresh snow. If I know hey, this deer's coming through here in the next 5 days, I'm going to sit there. Like even if we have fresh, good snow, like usually what happens for me is it's a little bit later and they're not covering as much ground on their feet in daylight as much, and it's getting tougher. And then I'm like, I get the snow. I'm like, all right, this is my best shot. So like usually like the fourth week in November through the end of the season is when I track it. Focus on tracking. What is your strategy when it comes to that? Because I know you do bow hunt. I know you do sit sometimes and all that.
So I guess my game is kind of evolving as we speak, just because last year was the first year I've ever really had time to hunt, because I was had an employer up until last year, and I only had 5 days off a year to do my thing, and usually 1 or 2 of those days I would dedicate to my wife in the summertime. So that would give me 3 days other than the Thursday and Friday of Thanksgiving week. So I was much more like September 15th comes, I'm bow hunting in New Hampshire, and then when Vermont bow opens, I'm bow hunting there, and then when muzzleloader in New Hampshire open, and then so this past season when things kicked off, I was like almost like feast or famine mode. It felt like I was trying to just fill every tag. So I mean, I think now
you had the time to do it.
I had the time to do it, and I scratched that itch in a way, and now I think down the road, I think I'm going to really be mindful of what I'm doing, if that makes sense. Like I'm not going to try to maybe gun hunt New Hampshire until it snows. You know, I'd rather maybe be in Massachusetts in a tree, bow hunting and doing more stuff like that. Just, things that are going to elevate my odds of being able to kill a bigger buck, because when I'm tracking, I will not take like I'm going to try to take something that I think is a big buck. Yeah. So I'm a lot more selective when I'm tracking than I am when I'm still hunting or sitting or bow hunting. Because when you're tracking, you can do that. You can. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're taking a bigger track, so the chances of seeing a bigger deer, if you see a deer, are there. But if you're sitting or still hunting, you don't know what deer you're going to see.
Yeah, and your odds just go up, I feel like, in the areas of New Hampshire that I hunt when you're hunting on snow. Especially when there's not a lot of mass crop. Yeah. This past season we had some, which was awesome because for 2 years we didn't. Oh, I know. And it was kind of a drag. I didn't like it. No, neither did I.
I struggled.
I did too. I really did.
Yeah, I think it's tough.
How many bucks did you kill this past year? Did you kill 4?
I got 5.
5, okay.
Yep.
So you got, I know, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, and Adirondacks?
Yes.
None in Mass?
And Mass.
And Mass, too?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Tell us.
How many was that then?
5.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I told you, feast or famine. Feast or famine, man.
I forgot about that. I know you told me that, but I just slipped my mind. Like, oh, shit.
And 2 of them were on back-to-back days, right?
Yeah. The November 13th and November 14th. November 13th was bow hunting in Massachusetts. Yeah. November 14th was.
Just run through your fall then.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to take just in general. Like,
okay.
Crazy,
yeah.
Just like
I'll kind of cliff note it. It started out bow hunting early in New Hampshire. I always do. I love it. I feel like that's probably the best time to get on a big buck.
Yeah. Are you hunting September big woods 15th? In New Hampshire?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. So similar areas you'd hunt during. Okay.
Totally alone with the bow. Let me tell you, there's nobody hunting the big stuff with the bow. And anyways, September 16th, I ended up getting on tons of fresh buck sign, and I got up in a tree about 1 p.m. and I had 2 bucks come in at like 5:30. And I don't know if you remember. Really? Yeah, I don't know if you remember last year on September 16th, but it was like 85 degrees.
Yeah, I don't even think I hunted.
It was
that first week
ridiculously hot, and I ended up having this. I mean, he's
really
Framer. He ended up being a 5-pointer. I know this now, but I thought he was a 6, and he was like 18, 19 inches wide, good mass, pretty good body, and I had him come all the way to 13 yards. And I didn't draw because I thought he was going to take a different route and he was going to walk behind a hemlock tree, and I could have. He didn't. He walked right at me, and when he got to 13 yards, he saw me and ran, and there was an 8-pointer with him. So that was early, and then after that, I kind of I saw a ton of deer, a ton of does, small bucks. I saw a few spike horns and stuff bow hunting in New Hampshire. I never bow hunted in Vermont. And then week of November 10th through the 15th, I had it in my mind that I was going to take that week to bow hunt Massachusetts. Because from what I've seen in the past, the 10th through the 15th in Massachusetts is pretty hot. So I was like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to bow hunt it. I have the time now. I'm self-employed, whatever. So the 10th came along.
So were you driving back and forth, or would you stay down?
I was going to stay in my truck.
Okay. So it didn't take you long.
No. Yeah. So anyways, things really lined up for me this past season. So they don't always go like that, but the 10th rolled around and something came up at work, and I was like, son of a bitch. So I had to work. I had to work the 10th, 11th, and 12th. But I was looking at the weather, and I was like, ooh, the 11th and 12th are kind of warm. They're like high 60s.
Yeah.
And then the 13th, which I want to say was a Wednesday, I might be wrong, but anyways, it was going to be like 26 degrees that morning with like bluebird skies, no wind. And I was like, oof, I'm going to get down there. And so the 13th, I got up at like 2:30 in the morning and I drove down, and I was a little late. I got there at daylight. And I'm sneaking down through the woods. I have a tree stand that I hung there 2 years ago. Never sat in it, but is a spot that I found shed hunting, actually, that I figured was a really good rut funnel. And I'm sneaking my way down into this tree stand, and I hear something coming through the brush, and I was like, dang it, there's a guy in here. That's what I thought, 'cause he was walking right at me, and it's really thick in there. I'm like, God dang it. This guy's going to yell at me. I'm walking through first light, He's going to be pissed. I'm looking like such an amateur right now, And all of a sudden I just see tines coming through and I'm like, oh my God. So I like knock an arrow, and I'm like, turn my camera on, and I'm like hunkering down behind this tree. And I watch this buck, like high 130s, 9-pointer. I have lots of pictures of him. He comes right up, like skirts right by me 30 yards and walks by. I couldn't never get a shot at him, but just zombie walking. Like, I mean, I was crashing down through the brush. I'm trying to get to my tree, and he's just I'll never forget it. He's just walking like this, and he was looking at his feet. Like, he's just looking down, and I just came crashing down through there. I mean, maybe now knowing what I know now, maybe I should have tried to even make another move on him. But anyway, so he goes by me, and I was like,
did he cut your boot tracks?
No. Okay. He walked like, so I'm walking down like this. Yeah. And he came up from like by where my stand, probably walked right by my stand. If I would have been there, I would have stuck him. But he, And so he walks right by me and kind of goes out like to my left. So I was like, well, that's a good sign. So I went down, got in my tree stand. It was like half an hour after daylight. It was cold. So I sat there, and I remember about 10:30, I could hear something off behind me because I'm set up like right on the edge of a swamp. And I could hear something coming. I look, and I could just see tines coming right on the edge of the swamp coming through. So I got ready, stood up, and this time I drew like when he was at 100 yards. And I have a video of this. I held that bow for almost 3 minutes, and I was fine. I let him come right to 12 yards, and I stuck him and watched him fall over. But it was.
So how long were you drawing for?
Almost 3 minutes. Oh so in the video,
you have the video, so you actually know how long.
I'm gonna put the timer up, and
it's funny.
Well, it's funny because
I'm gonna be drawn back this time.
As soon as I saw the rack, I'm like, I was like,
we always joke like when if we're hunting and with buddies and like they'll say, oh, I just saw a big buck, or like just see a big buck, like I'm like, and it's bow hunting, I'm like, are you at full draw yet? That's what I always say.
Oh yeah.
And you were actually at full draw.
I was at full draw. Yeah, there was no texting there. No, and I'm gonna be like that from now on.
Yeah.
Because that burnt, it hurt my soul to have a buck at 13 yards. I mean, I could count his whiskers and not leave with him.
That's tough. That sucks. But so that was an old deer, right?
So
or was that the old deer?
Yeah.
I can't
remember. So I haven't sent the teeth in yet.
Oh, you haven't yet? Okay.
But I truly believe he's the oldest buck I ever shot.
Yeah.
Scored 102 inches. He's got he's just shy of 6-inch bases, but after the bases, he goes to 1 3/4 circumferences.
Right. So he could be 12 or something like that. Who knows?
He's weird.
Yeah.
But I've also seen this in the Northeast. It's like some bucks are special and they get really big.
Yeah.
Some bucks are not, and they don't ever even hit 110.
No.
And it doesn't matter if you're in Maine or if you're in the best county that produces big racks in Massachusetts. It does not matter.
Yeah.
And I think it's probably like that across the entire United States.
Yeah, it is.
Some bucks just don't get. Yeah. So anyways, I've had pictures of him for a few years, and he's always been 100-inch 8.
Yeah.
So, but
that's freaking awesome to kill him with a bow during. Yeah, that's awesome.
I was happy.
So you killed him, and that was the what day
13th.
13th.
Yep.
And so then, pretty much, is everything open at that point?
Pretty
When's
much.
Vermont open? Yeah.
No.
15th.
Vermont was late this year.
Was it?
Yeah, it was like the 16th, 15th,
okay.
16th.
Yeah.
So after that, I drove home, got home pretty late after I got him out of the woods and everything, and I got him hung up. And I was talking to my wife, and I was like, I think I'm going to go hunt in New Hampshire tomorrow. Pretty tired, but I just have a good feeling. I saw 2 bucks yesterday. I think things are kind of coming unglued, So I slept in. I slept till like probably close to 8 o'clock, got up, had a bunch of eggs, drank a bunch of coffee, just chilling. Yeah. And I got in my truck and I drove over to New Hampshire. I got over there like, noon or whatever. Hiked up into the spot that I said I was going to sit on crappy bare ground days. Went up there, sat, it's cold again, just sitting there. About 20 minutes before dark, that buck that I had at 13 yards come up over the bank, working a scrape line, shoot him. So that was pretty,
So you killed 2 New England bucks sitting back-to-back days.
Yep.
That's pretty wild. Mm-hmm. That doesn't happen very often.
10th through the 15th, buddy. Yeah. I'm telling you.
That's awesome.
Just from what I've seen, I don't know.
I've seen it a little bit. I mean, those dates are great.
Yeah. The 4th, too.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, we've talked about it in the past. It seems like it's different. For whatever reason, and I wish I could get away from it because I haven't found a pocket that's good. But it seems like for me, it's like the 15th through 23rd is when I see the best stuff. When I look at historical data, right? Like that's what, and I'm like, I'm looking for something outside that window because it sucks because I have all these spots that like go off at the same time in different states too, even. So I'm kind of. It
could be the caliber of bucks you're only shooting too, because I'm not.
Yeah. Could be.
I don't know. Old 3-year-old don't bother me none.
Right. I mean, maybe. Now maybe.
Because some of the biggest bucks I've ever filmed or had on camera were in that like 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Like giant daywalker, like 11 o'clock mid.
Although you say that, but like I mean, the behavior. Well. In general, I think there may be some differences. The behavior of a 7 or 8 year old buck, whether he's 100 inches or 160 inches, probably isn't that much different, right?
No.
Like, he doesn't know. Like it's the same. So,
but I will.
Bucks you killed are old. Go ahead. I think I may know where you were going.
Where I killed him is such a thick place.
Yeah.
That I think. Once it gets to be late October, I think it's probably all pretty good in there, because like you can't see anything. Like it is a jungle.
Yeah, it could happen at any point.
They're just
starting to move. Yeah.
They're just right in there, and
But no, I think you're right. The spots make a big difference because probably late October, you're not going to catch one of those bucks like at 11 o'clock in the morning, like in like way away from anything, like going like cruising, right? You're not going to catch them there. So if you're in real tight, those spots can be good. And that's where I find a lot of good stuff late October and early in November is tight to like cover and like big primary scrapes like up high. But it seems for me the deer I'm after when they're just like 1 o'clock in the afternoon zombie walking is usually like
later on.
Yeah, like 19th is my favorite day if I had to pick one, so anywhere around there. But I mean, really, any time in November can get good, right? Like
it can.
Yeah.
But so that getting tight like that is such a dangerous game I found because in the big woods, a lot of times there's just so much space for them to roam. So if you're gonna be right up in his business before it really cuts loose, and you want to play that game, you could. Yeah, you can blow him out of there, and then when he starts, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I've done that.
I've talked about that so much. It's like, in other places in the country, you're playing that October, early November game where it's still kind of bed, and it's almost in my mind it's like bed to scrape and food, but like that seems like what they're focused on. Usually those scrapes are at least on the way or on the edge of food potentially. I mean, there's kind of food everywhere, but a buck could be bedded in like a 3-acre area in the Midwest or wherever else, even suburbia, right? So like you want to push to the edge of that, but like when you're talking like, oh, he could be on the point of this mountain that could be 60 acres. Like you don't, where is he? Like he could be, you know what I mean? He could be here. He could be positioned in a bunch of different areas. So like you don't know how deep to go, and like you could go on the edge, and he could be bedded 70 yards away, or he could be bedded 400 yards away. And if he's bedded 400 yards away, you're probably not going to see. So, but then if you go into where he's bedded 400 yards away and you bump, so like trying to like
it's hard
manage
to
that
gauge.
distance is like impossible. I feel like
that and I mean I don't really have a lot of legs to stand on because I've never bow hunted the Midwest, but I could see where a buck has to kind of bed in a certain area.
Oh yeah,
just because
it's limited.
It's limited, and in the Northeast, if you're going to play that close game like that, he can go anywhere.
Yeah,
he liked that area, but he'll go on that ridge because he's not getting bumped out of his bed at.
Yeah,
you know, so it's like
it's tough
in the bigger woods. I think it's a really it's hard that time of year, late October. Early November, it's tough.
Well, it's when I karate chopped the recorder last podcast. But like I said,
struggled too, man.
I until this season, and it wasn't in the big. It was on my farm in New York. I have never killed a buck between October 7th and November 2nd. I just struggled. Like, and I've had good pictures, and I hunt it. Like, man, I get nothing fires me up more. And it doesn't make sense because I haven't had good hunts, but like a late October cold front on like a big active scrape, I get so fired up.
Oh yeah.
And then I go and sit and I just don't see him. It's just like,
how much?
I just don't. I don't know.
In comparison to the rut, how much time have you put in during that time period?
Not as much, but it's it's targeted time, right? It's like on cold fronts, high pressure mornings, or like it's like I'll hunt like a scrape for like 2 days straight, like the good days. So it's not like I sit it for a week, but I'm like, oh, we got a real drop in temperature, high pressure. Like this buck's been at that scrape close to daylight or in daylight in the last couple weeks. Like it's active. Like this is, and I just haven't really. I'm trying to even think if I've had many even good encounters during that period. I don't know.
I've killed a few bucks early October.
Yeah. Oh, I have
on
too.
The first, I'm talking that like first week.
Yes. I think that first week is awesome.
It's a really good week.
If you open, like New Hampshire opens earlier, I think the first 2 weeks in New Hampshire. Well, 15th through like October 7th. I love that window. And if we opened earlier, that would include that too. It seems like the 7th through like the first week of November is just a tough one.
You got to be right on top of them, I think.
So. And it's just still
when the leaves start to fall, the deer, they change.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a biologist that can tell you exactly why, but I just think it's the canopy opening up, and they don't feel as comfortable as they did.
So it's funny you say that. I've been thinking that and saying that for years. Everybody talks about deer only care about cover at their level. I actually think they care about canopy over their head.
Yeah.
And like dark timber versus like, I really think that's a thing. And I don't hear anybody talking about. I mean, maybe people do, but I don't really hear many people talking about that.
How many times when you either see a deer or you bump one, they're just on that inside edge, just on the edge of the shadows on the inside there.
Yeah. I think I really think that makes a difference. But it's hard to like. I don't know. Maybe it's just the amount of light on them. They're not used to like.
Things open up.
Yeah.
I mean, you can only see 30 yards in the woods all summer.
I'm talking about from
up top too.
The top, because like you wouldn't think that matters, but I think it does. I really do.
Well, I mean, it could be psychological to the deer.
Yeah.
I don't know if they think that deeply, but maybe.
Maybe like a pterodactyl from back in the Stone Age.
Dude, white-tailed deer have been on the planet forever.
Yeah.
Like they're the oldest. I've figured this out recently. They're the oldest deer species on the planet.
Are they really? I didn't know that.
Like millions of
awesome.
years.
Yeah. I didn't know that. I didn't know they're that old.
They're that old. So there could be something to that.
Yeah, I think that there is. I obviously cover like, at deer level, like when you're looking across the landscape, that matters. But I really think that overhead cover makes a difference. I'm pretty convinced of it. Like even when like around here, like you're not going to find, you will, but like it seems like they prefer stuff with softwood, right? Because that's that cover even when all the leaves are off. But yeah, that's interesting. So after New Hampshire, so we already
that's the
Massachusetts.
14th. Yep.
New Hampshire.
Yep. So after that, I hunted with my wife, and I take a camera for the first 2 days of Vermont on my family's property, and we saw a ton of does. We didn't see any bucks. Heard a lot of shooting this year, a lot all around us, but didn't end up killing a buck. And the way my wife works is she hunts the first weekend, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, she's done. So works out good for me. So after that, I rifle hunted Vermont a little bit on bare ground. I went and checked some cameras that I had hung in some deeper stuff, and I had some good bucks on them and stuff.
Were you staying like mobile on bare ground?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah. In Vermont.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just running around mostly. I know it's funny to say this, but seriously, I'm just like getting in shape for like when the snow flies, like I try to stay in pretty good shape all year, but like when that point comes, I'm like, okay, it's time to go. And so I got to think. So I went to Maine on the Monday of Thanksgiving week. Drove up all the way almost to the Allagash, out in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking middle of nowhere with my buddy Garrett. He brought his truck. I brought mine, and we slept in the back. Mm-hmm. And there was no deer up there at all.
Really?
None. I swear to God.
You got snow?
I found one buck track.
Just going right up and over the top.
Oh my God. Yeah. He was going from mountain to mountain to mountain to mountain looking for does.
He couldn't find it.
He wasn't finding any of them. There was a lot of moose. So if anybody wants to find some moose antlers, let me know. Because no, seriously, like when I was walking through the woods up there, I mean, I was if you take the North Maine woods and you say, I want to get me away from everything as far as like, that's where I was in the middle of nothing, there's nothing up there. 45 miles from the paved road, no deer. So there's no deer up there, guys. But, so we came south some and we got into deer, and I ended up, so Tuesday I found that one buck and chased him all over hell. And
do you know how far you took him?
Not very far, because I found him late in the day, like 4 miles, something not crazy. And so ended up, it took us till almost noon to get down south where we started finding deer. And Garrett and I found this little pull-off that we liked off on a couple back roads. And we're like, okay, this is camp. I'm going to head out that way with my truck. You go that way. We'll meet back here at dark and, we'll camp, whatever. And so we split off, and when we were driving out there, I remember we crossed this one trail of like, it was like the only deer trail that we crossed where like more than one deer were going across it. And we got out to look at the tracks. There was one like pretty good one going through, and I was like, all right. So I went all around by where the camp was. Couldn't find nothing really. A couple smaller buck tracks, but I kind of wanted to find something bigger, So I remember that trail like 20, 30 minutes back to the east, and I was like, oh, I'm going to go back and try driving around that trail and try to cut that buck track a little fresher than where he crossed the main road. So I went back there. It was like 1:30 or something. It's getting kind of late. Yeah. And I drove up above the main road on a few of the like spur roads. I don't know if you've been up in that area, but there's friggin' roads everywhere. Yeah. It's funny. Like, you don't have to walk that far. You can just drive everywhere. But anyways, I ended up cutting, I'm pretty sure it was the buck track that was down in the trail, coming up and heading up this mountain. It was snowed in. It snowed that night before. So I was like, well, now or never. It's either this or I'm going to go back to the campsite and have a beer. Yeah. So I was like, I just ditched the truck and head off on the track, old as hell, at 1:30. So I'm heading up, kind of, thinking about all my choices that led me there. And I get up on the hill, and he hit a big scrape. I marked it because I don't find a lot of big scrapes up in that area for whatever reason. So I marked it, and I kept going on him. And he went down into this big cedar bog. And right before he dumped down into that cedar bog, I saw a big bull moose, which was cool. And right when I got down into the cedar bog, I look off to my right and I can see a deer track coming up out of the cedar bog. And I was like, well, I'll go check that. And I walked over and I looked, and it was him, fresher than hell, coming up out. And I was like, okay, game on. And at this time,
you think he was laying down in there all day, or he just happened to double back?
Maybe it was
tough to say.
Maybe he had gone to Timbuktu and back. And, I don't know. But the track was definitely had snow in it from the night before. Mm-hmm. So, but this was smoking hot. So I jumped on it, and I'm like, okay, this is good. It's like 2:00, getting late.
Yeah.
Fresh track, heading up the hill, coming up out of that cedar bog. And I'm going on them, and the way it was in there, it was spruce, but with all these strip cuts. Mm-hmm. And he was walking down one of those strips, and I'd probably gone, 400 or 500 yards on him. He's feeding like crazy, so I was sneaking on him really good. And I was figuring he could have been bedded anywhere right there. I was, thinking I was going to catch him. And that strip kind of did like a 45 mm-hmm. down at the, it just made a 45. And I was getting up to the part where it crooked around and made that 45, and there was a blowdown spruce across the strip. I was like, wouldn't that be something if he was laying on the other side of it? Sure shit, he was laying on the other side of it. And I shot him in his bed at 15 yards.
Did he look at you or no?
No, he was looking away. They're dumb up there. Dumb in hell. They look away, dude. I don't know what it is. But anyways, so I got him. He never got out of his bed. He was a nice buck, 10-pointer, probably, he's probably around 120 inches. Yeah. And he weighed 173 pounds. Nice. He was short. Big old noggin on him, though. Big head. He was all front end, He was short deer, but it was beautiful. I was like, I don't know, mile or two from the truck. Went down, jumped on the road, ran back, got my truck, and I could beat my truck to about 250 yards of them. Nice. It was awesome. Maine is awesome. It really is so cool. You can just, if you have a truck like mine, you can
go anywhere.
But so I got him Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. Stayed at my buddy's camp that night because my buddy, who I do the Big Buck Theory podcast with, he shot a buck that same day. And just out of by chance, I'm at the reporting station. There's only one reporting station for 100 miles. I see Morgan's truck pulling in. I'm like, what the hell? I was like, what are you doing here? He's like, I shot a buck. What are you doing here? I was like, I shot a buck. He's like, oh my God. Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, can I, he was staying, he had rented a camp down in town. And he offered I could stay there for the night before I hit the road in the morning. So it worked out perfect. And we got good pictures of them both and everything. So it was cool. And Thanksgiving Day, I drove back to Vermont in a friggin' blizzard. Coming through this area was unbelievable. There was 2 feet of snow on the road or a foot of snow. 2 feet might be a little exaggeration, but do you remember Thanksgiving Day? How bad it was around here?
Yeah, I drove up to Vermont and that.
Dude, it was rain and all the way down the interstate until I hit this area, and then it was snow everywhere and people off the road. It was crazy. So I didn't get home till midnight. But we got all this snow, and I had a Vermont tag. So that very next day, Friday, I was like, I'm going to go out.
Just keep it rolling.
Keep it rolling, right? Yeah. So I went out, and I tried to cut one from the road. Couldn't cut one from the road. It was 1 o'clock. I was like, well, I got this swamp that I used to hunt a lot when I was younger. I was like, it's a mile or two back in there. You kind of have to go up a little ways, and then you dump down off and go way down in. And not a lot of people hunt it because you got to drag uphill out of it. So I went down in there and tons of snow. It was up to my knee. And I get down in there and there's running tracks everywhere. I was like, well, this is perfect. So I just started doing figure eights in there, just blowing on my grunt tube, looking. You can't see anything. It's like a little spruce swamp. And there was snow sticking on everything. And just going along grunting. And I was like, oh, it looks like he's pretty fresh right here. And I do that a lot when I find where they're running a doe. I won't track them. Yeah. Because a lot of times I feel like you're doing more harm than good when they're running a doe because they're just doing this. So if you're doing this, you're better off just kind of standing there and walking with your head up. Yeah. And I've had a lot of success doing it, but I'm just kind of poking my way through the spruce swamp, just doing figure eights, and I looked to my left, and he's standing 10 yards looking at me with his head down, so I just pull up and dump him right there. So,
jeez.
That was Vermont.
All right, so that's 4.
That's 4. And then so then we started I was going to go to the Adirondacks that following week. We had this major catastrophe at work, though. So I had this
major catastrophe.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was like one of those things where I couldn't skip out and hunt.
Yeah.
That's a major catastrophe for me when it's hunting season.
Yeah.
So anyways, I had to work on this stupid thing, and it ended up being the last day of the Adirondack rifle season, like December 3rd or something. And I called up my buddy Josh, and he had been filming a little bit for me, like during shed season, and he was gonna film with me during hunting season. It just didn't work out. So I was like, hey, you want to go to the Adirondacks tomorrow and film? He's like, yeah, sure. So he came to my house next morning, nice and early, and we drove over to an area that I missed a good one probably in 2018, just a wilderness area, no deer out there. And I'm hiking. No, there is not. There's no deer.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And I'm hiking back out in there, and I find this buck track at like 9:30, like 2 or 3 miles back in. I was like, Josh, he's not very big, but we're going to get him. And the last day, and it would have made it 5 for 5. I never planned it out that way.
Yeah.
I never set out to shoot 5 bucks in 5 states in the Northeast, but it just worked out that way. And I was like, this is, a gift from above. I got to take it here. And I chased him all day. I jumped him 2 times. It's awesome footage. I mean, I squeaked in a coyote to like 10 yards and let him go off this beaver dam. Like, just really cool footage. And ended up catching him, making a scrape at 4:20.
Oh,
like
man.
9 minutes before legal. Yeah, because Josh, he was starting to lag a little bit on me towards the end. And I'm like, buddy, we can catch him in here. Like, because the last time we jumped him, he got us good. And we waited like an hour. I like really sat down. We ate a little bit, and I was like, we're gonna really give him some time, because if he heads down over in those bogs over there, I said we could catch him. And sure enough, because it was just the woods, the way they were just kind of these rolly little spruce knobs, and it was quiet going. And if you just time it right, you could just catch them, and we did right at last light, and I ended up killing them right there. 4:20, and my God, what a drag that was.
How far was it?
Too far.
Yeah.
Too far.
Is it the longest drag you've ever had?
No.
Okay.
No, but it was too far. We got him out at 9:30, so 5 hours.
Oh shit, yeah.
7's my longest.
Okay.
But we had 5 guys on him too.
Well, it's a good thing it wasn't like 225.
You're goddamn right. I was really happy. It was a glorified 6-pointer. He's a 4-pointer with low brows. I'm saying he's a 2-year-old, but I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
No. He's probably a 130-pound deer, but.
Well, they don't get most of the time, very heavy over there anyway.
No.
Although I've heard some guys kill some heavier ones, but it seems like from what I've seen, and their tracks don't seem to look very big either, at least the ones I've seen.
I mean, I knew he was a buck track, and he stood out, and I tracked him all day, and I never cut another buck track, so he was king of the hill.
I remember one buck Ross and I tracked, and when he jumped up, I was surprised at how good of a buck it was. Mm-hmm. After looking at his track, I was like, "Oh man, that's a better buck than we thought."
They'll fool you, because like what I killed over there this year, it could have been a really big buck, but I knew it wasn't, because I could see him when he was feeding in the snow.
Yeah, right.
I was like, he's little, but he's not a big one. But
right.
But he was a runner, and he really made us work for it.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
Yeah,
and he capped off the season. So did you kept hunting?
Yeah, my dad really likes to go down and hunt the late season in Massachusetts. Yep. So I think we did a couple Friday, Saturdays, but we did it every Saturday right until the first of the year, and just hit it hard, but.
Because you can shoot, you get 2 tags in Mass.
2 tags, yep.
Yeah.
And I was holding out for that one. I was gonna wait for a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't see any bucks.
Freezer's overflowing at that point. So.
I had given 2 away at that point. So because I shot a doe, I forgot. I shot a doe on the third day in New Hampshire, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the ground.
Cool.
It was pretty fun.
Oh, that's shit.
Yeah.
That's cool. So, did you kill that doe in the mountains?
Yeah. On the ground.
You didn't save her teeth, did you?
No.
No,
she was young.
Oh, okay.
And it was a good shot, too, for a young one.
All right. As I'm wondering, I think some of these does in the mountains are super old.
This one wasn't.
Silly old. Okay. You're like, yeah, this wasn't it, but this wasn't her.
I thought it was 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Ended up being more like probably 60.
Right. She was a good one to eat.
Tasted really good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Staked
Gotcha.
the entire thing.
Yeah.
But,
Okay. Yeah. I gotcha. Yeah.
I'm honest, though.
Why not?
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't.
She came in alone.
Really?
Looked like a 100-pounder.
Well,
I was like,
yeah.
that's a 100-pounder.
Yeah.
Ranged it because I set up this little ground blind. It's too far in to have a stand or anything.
And that was late September.
Yeah.
I wonder if Mom got hit by a car or whatever.
I
Got shot.
Either that or Mom was letting the dumb doe go down in first.
Yeah. Given that.
Yeah.
Let's
shot young ones.
Let's talk about Vermont a little bit. I know you hunt the greens quite a bit, and I've heard you talk on podcasts before about habitat not being fantastic, but obviously you're finding success in them year after year. So, like, what are you noticing similarities from buck to buck about what type of area that they're? Obviously, you don't need to give away all your secrets.
No,
but,
I mean, good luck. I mean, it's hard, and it hasn't been every year. There's been a few year stretches here and there where I prefer, especially when I have as much time, I'd prefer to be in New Hampshire, Mass. I wouldn't even hunt Vermont much, like a couple days a year, a few years there. But I mean, the funny thing about Vermont is we have not a lot of great ground for like habitat wise.
Yeah.
But we do have really good deer hunters. So areas in the national forest that are being cut are very, very pressured.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's like these guys are like wolves. Like really, truly. Like the area that I grew up in, like the best deer hunters I know are that area, no social media, old guys, like they can just kill deer like crazy. And it's just, that's a lot of our problem, I feel like, in the state is the guys are just wolves. But I guess where I found a lot of deer, and you have to think outside of the box, and it's a game of extremes. They're usually extremely far or extremely close. There's not a whole lot of in between that I've noticed. There's not a whole lot of gimme spots in Vermont. There's not a whole lot of
look
that
good
ridge
on the map, and you walk in a half a mile. Yeah,
no, there's none of those.
So when you say that makes a lot of sense to me. When you say really far, are they in? Is it just because they're so deep that people aren't getting to them, or are they in pockets of good habitat deep?
Yeah,
why are they back there? I guess
swamps usually.
Okay.
If I'm going far back, it's usually swamps or cuts, and it's just far enough to where I say really deep. I only mean a couple miles.
Yeah. That's pretty deep for most.
Yeah, I mean it's not Adirondack deep by any means, but it's deep to the average guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good habitat. Not everybody. Like I said, I've killed a few in Vermont because they're downhill from any road. That's a big one.
That's interesting.
If you go down, if you can't get below it with a road, you'd be surprised.
Yeah.
There's some bucks in there because guys they don't want to pull them uphill. I don't blame them. It sucks. It really sucks.
Yeah.
Especially alone.
That's a later problem for me.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Worry about killing the thing first and then worry
about
it later.
Yeah, that's right. Cross that bridge when you get to it. That's my favorite saying.
Yeah, I think when it comes to killing a buck, I'm the same boat as you guys. It's like, I don't care where the hell he is. If I'll figure it out how to get him out after he's laying on the ground, my tag on him. Like,
and that's how you ended up with
which one?
The you were talking about the place you hunt now when you first started hunting there.
Oh my God. That was a bitch. The first one to get out of there.
Now there's a little different way.
Yeah, I got a little better access now because I figured some stuff out. But the first time in there,
was it bad?
It was like 2 miles over a mountain, and it was just thick and just like it was actually that deer right there, that big 8.
Oh, he's a good one too.
Yeah, so he was worth it. He could have been twice as far. I wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, I would have drug him all the way back to Vermont. I think people that struggle, I think most of it is just an attitude problem. Like I don't, you know?
The other thing we talked about this in the last podcast, is just time. Like people don't realize how and I say that you killed, how many days did you hunt from when their first buck killed to last buck? How many actually?
I know.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So, crazy. But I don't think that's average or normal.
No. But I mean,
it can be like that if you put your time in. But for you to be able to do that, there was hundreds of days and hours before that allowed you to be in a position of know those areas and then even have the skills to go in and kill a deer in a day, right? So but people don't realize how much actual time it takes. And a lot of guys that are super successful have the time to hunt. That's what, they have the time either or to scout or to hunt or both. And it's really tough. And you were probably in before you work for yourself, that hunting weekends and a couple days off a year, it's tough to get it done.
Very, very
super hard to get it done.
And that's why I was tracking.
Yeah, right. That makes a lot of sense.
Because I had to do it.
Yeah. No, I mean that's the way to get it done in a day, right? That's your best shot.
Yeah.
No, I think it makes a ton of sense.
Because I've had the experience where you sit in a tree all day on your one day off and you don't see anything. You're like,
that was a waste.
But if
I don't think I could do that.
But if you go,
I don't think I would if I could.
One day.
But if you
I don't think I'd sit I'd be
you go run yourself
doing the same thing most.
You go run yourself ragged and don't see a track. Well, you're at least I got to get workout in.
Did something.
True. And I've done that in Vermont. I've had multiple 14-mile days, no deer tracks.
Yeah.
On 2-day-old snow. The lawns taste really good that year or something because they're not in the hills.
Yeah.
Man. The only times I've had days like that is in the Adirondacks. I remember Ross and I went into this piece straight 8 miles.
Yep.
On a trail.
That's deep.
Straight into the middle. We were 8 miles in. And I remember it was 8 miles to the next road. So we're way in. And I'm like, man, we're in there deep. We didn't cut a single deer track. We came 8 miles out and we cut a track a half mile from a truck.
Right on the edge.
It was almost a 16 mile. I think it was 16. It was long. And we actually, that was actually the buck that we ended up walking up on.
Okay.
I think it was it was at least a 16-mile day. It was probably 7. It was. We were hauling though because we were straight line in it, right? And I don't know what the hell it was. It wasn't old. It was like an old roadbed, but just way old, and it just went straight through, and it was just foot traffic only.
Yep.
So we could straight line and cover ground quick. We weren't going up and we were just hauling because it's tough to cover that much ground in one day. When you get over 10, 12 miles.
If you're hunting.
Yeah, exactly. But if you're hauling, you can do it. That's what we were doing. We're just trying to cut a track. But that's the most I've ever done in a day in the deer woods. That was wild. And like I said, we didn't see anything.
Yeah.
They're super pocketed. But so that's interesting. So what's your goal? Is your goal going to be similar this fall, do you think, as last fall? Or because I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I always like to ask this question and see what people's how they evolve and change as a hunter because it's super interesting to me because I think I'm at a point where I'm changing for sure of what I'm looking for. My mindset has changed a lot the last couple of years. To the point where I used to be just so fixated on kill a big one, the one buck I'm after, the big buck, whatever. And then it's changed 2 years ago, really even last year. It was kind of I was after a couple deer, but it was I'm just going to take an opportunity and hunt where it makes sense. And I'm not going to get fixated on one deer. 2 years ago, I didn't have a big deer really to hunt. So I just I'm just going to shoot the first solid buck I see, which was different. I hadn't done that in a long time. And now I'm kind of I don't know. We'll see. If I find a big one, great. If maybe I'll travel, maybe I'll take the kid. I'm just kind of a little more relaxed with it. So what's your mindset? Do you think about that much or?
I mean, I do. I don't know. I'm gonna try to wait for snow more this year.
Okay.
I feel like I'm really dialing in my tracking game.
Yeah.
I'm doing well with it, and I just, I can find big deer. I know where there's really big deer. I have to wait till there's snow to kill them. Seriously.
Yeah.
You know, but I also know about a bunch of other deer that I could kill before the snow comes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the game that you got to play. But then it's a scary game because sometimes the snow doesn't come.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's shitty snow.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why it's like last year it was like that feast or famine mentality. Yeah. The first year I had, I was like, I am killing everything. You know? But I'm 29 now. Will there be a point in time where I pass 100-inch deer in the Northeast? Maybe. You know, I just don't think I'm there yet.
No, that's fine.
But, yeah, I would love to kill a 200 in Maine, you know, because I haven't yet. And
so is that maybe one of the goals?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to kill a 200 in Maine. I mean, that's something that I've always wanted to do. You know, some kids growing up wanted to go to the NFL. Some kids wanted to.
Yeah, sure. No,
I wanted to be Lanny Benoit. So I kind of want to kill a 200 in Maine, you know?
Yeah, so, okay. That's cool. What about, you have any goals for Vermont, your home state? Or have you kind of, because this is, you know, I have certain things in my mind that I'm like, oh, I'd like to do that. I don't know if I'm like crazy about it, but like if I have the opportunity, I'm kind of gonna angle into that and lean into like a certain direction because I'm like, I really want to do this and that. Do you have anything for Vermont?
I'd like to kill a big one in Vermont. I say
like,
that about
what's
every
a
state.
I'd
big like to kill a giant.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Well, like, what would be when you say that? What are you thinking of? What's the deer?
Oh, like probably like 130s, 140.
Okay. Yeah,
that would be nice. You know, I do know of a handful of 130, 140 plus. Every year in Vermont, it's just super. Like when I'm talking, like it's funny, guys. Listen to it. And it's like, okay, my range is literally from the southern border to about like 2 hours or an hour and a half north of Rutland.
Yeah,
that whole stretch, you might know of a couple 130 plus.
Yeah,
you know, it's not like
that's
they're
tough.
all around. But I mean, I would like, because it's just my home state. You know, I have a lot of pride in killing deer in Vermont because it's hard.
Right.
But it's also that double-edged sword because it's that much easier to kill a 3-year-old when you see it in Vermont because it's that hard.
Right.
You know? But I don't know. We'll see. I like to play things by ear. I don't like to, like I said, I did not plan on killing $5 last year just because I just kind of like to, I'll let the wind blow me where it blows me and
seems like it suits your personality well too, and that's where you enjoy most. Right?
Yeah, I just like to do it. Yeah, so.
What about for bow hunting? Do you have anything for bow hunting you're looking to?
Yeah, I'm gonna bow hunt Massachusetts again.
Bow hunt Mass, yeah.
Probably that same week like I did. And I was bow hunting in some bigger mountains down there in October, and I had some really good encounters with bucks. Yeah, I had this one night because I was hunting this big mountain. It's way too steep and far to have a tree stand or anything. Like it would be dumb to put a stand or even to bring a climber or my saddle stuff up there. So I just made a little ground blind and a root ball, and it's pretty good. I saw a lot of deer out of it. But anyways, this one night, it was like, I think it was October 19th. I remember the date. It was cold that night, and it was beautiful. It was like one of those nights where, like, if you're not in the woods, you're just like,
I
wish I was out. Like a little hazy, like kind of feeling like, you know, all your cell cameras are about to go off, like kind of night. Well, I was out there, and it was like a Thursday or something. I took the day, and I was sitting there, and like it was cold too. It was probably like, I don't know, 29, 30 degrees, like somewhere in there. And right at last light, I could hear a deer coming down off the top of the mountain, and I could just tell the way it was walking. It was a buck, and it was quiet. I mean, you could have heard the deer from 500 yards. You know, and he was coming. And there was a couple cuts up there, and I look, and off through the distance, I could just see frame coming down. And there's a cut between him and I'm like behind that root ball. I draw back. I'm getting ready. You know, it's like 150 yards. I'm ready to go. But he went on the wrong side of the cut.
I wish I could be over the shoulder and do. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh, I'm drawing now. Oh yeah. Yeah, but anyway,
you better practice that this summer. Yeah. Just holding for like 10 minutes.
Dude, when I'm hopped up on adrenaline, I swear to God, I could pull the bow apart. So
what draw weight do you have?
70 pounds.
70? Is it, you know what let off it is?
A lot.
Yeah.
It's the Matthews lift. It's a nice bow.
I'm not sure what that is.
It's a lot. What I do, what I'm doing now is I draw it back, I let my arm down just a little bit, and I take my thumb, and I just hook it right there. And I've literally sat in my garage for like 10 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can just sit there forever because I lock this arm. I lock it and put my thumb behind my neck.
That's it. I've never thought to do that.
Basically a crossbow at that point.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I was like,
yeah.
I'm trying to think. I've never had. So I think the big thing is, I guess the deer saw you. I always wait to draw until if he catches me drawing, I can shoot him. Like, I have a clear shot to his vitals.
Right.
Like, I won't draw unless I can see his vitals. Like, unless he's charged, just running in or something like that. But I mean, if he busts you at 13 yards, that's tough.
Yeah, it was no shooting him. And the year before in the mountains in New Hampshire, on like October 6th or 7th, I was hunting this oak stand that had acorns, and they were dropping then.
Yeah.
Right then. They were all coming down, and all these bucks started hitting it. Like, there was no rubs in there. I walked through it one day, and it's like, boom, there's like 30 green rubs in there.
Yeah.
So I got my saddle stuff all hooked up, and I hunted it a few nights, and I was actually staying at camp. Me and a couple of my buddies have camp over there, and it was really bad rainy night, and the system kind of blew off like right at daylight. And right at daylight, I could see this buck working his way down. I was like, oh, yeah, he's a good one. Got heavy horns, whatever, good body. He's coming down, and I let him come he walked right in front of my tree. And he stopped right like in front of me, like 20 yards. And I was so excited. I went to draw. And I got like that.
Really?
So I was like, okay, let's do this again. Got it back that time, and I ended up killing him.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But that was the first thing that was like, I need to start drawing earlier. Because I think a lot of it is too, when he was at 20 yards looking my direction, I was trying to be like not moving that much. And I'm all full of adrenaline, heart's beating 160 beats per minute, whatever. It's like, for me, it just suits me best, I guess. So when I see him come in at 100 yards, I'm just going to rip it back then.
That's wild. 100 yards.
Sure.
Well, hey, man, if you can hold it and make the shot, then I guess why not, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really.
They won't catch me drawing.
No, they won't.
No.
They may catch you, though, if they get stuck up.
Yeah, right? I don't know. I'm serious. I can hold it back forever like this. Yeah. I lock that arm out, and, I mean, what are you holding, 30 pounds?
Not much. No. Probably like
less.
Well, if it's 90%,
yeah,
then
10 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hold
maybe
it all day.
6. Yeah.
I mean, there's no.
Yeah,
like,
it's
strain.
different if trying to hold it like steady and be in your anchor point.
God no.
Yeah, it's
no,
a different
I
thing.
let it right off, and I'm just holding it. And then when he comes
in,
why
don't you just when you get set up and just get in this tree stand, get set up and just I'm ready. Here you go.
Yeah.
Just look.
Yeah, right. Look, yeah.
Nothing sneaking up on me.
Hell of a bow hunter, can you tell?
You need a new logo for YouTube channel. It's just you at full draw, looking like
full draw outdoors.
Always at full draw.
Yeah,
always ready.
Yeah, boy.
So I think to your point, that high let off is a huge benefit for that. But the thing that I've found, I don't really like to shoot high let off.
Do you shoot tension?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't like that high let off. I like to really pull on it. And the other thing is just like I've had tuning issues with like the higher let off bows. It seems like there's like this delay. So if you think about like the let off, like there's that freaking valley, right?
Yeah.
And it seems like when you release, the string kind of sits there with the arrow and the string for a minute, and it's like a stagnant. I mean, it's moving, but it's like takes a second for those cams to ramp. And what can happen is any torque in your front hand is amplified because that arrow's on that string and it's kind of dwelling in that valley for longer. And so, whereas if you have a lower let off, it's kind of gone quicker. And so I've just had, I'm like kind of crazy about tuning my bows, and I've just found that those lower let off, like 80 or 75, 70, tune a little better. But the disadvantage is you can't draw your bow right when you get in your stand away from the fly.
Dude,
but for real, that is like being able to be at full draw is a big deal. Like I know Henry Moncrief when he goes to Canada, because drawing on those deer up there is difficult. Yep. It's so quiet and they're just so like in tune with their environment. He like sits there. Well, he'll sit there at full draw for like 5 minutes at the end of like when he shoots. He does that all the time. I probably should do that more, but I don't know, because like I said, I'm just always like, I'm worried about that, about getting caught or like having a deer stop and not having the shot. That I always, like I said, I always draw. I'm like, if he busts me or he freezes, I can shoot him. I mean, it probably isn't going to work 100% of the time, but
it comes back to you need to know what works for you.
Yeah,
right? You know, you got to have your style. Yeah, and it's like just the way I track is probably. I know the way I track is a lot different from the way a lot of people do it, but.
There's different ways that people do things and they have success, and I think I've learned a lot from mistakes. Like I used to have certain things, particularly with archery. It seems like people really can get things dialed and like what kind of equipment and what's style. The one thing that I had was I used to shoot a single pin slider, and I much prefer that sight picture on a single. I love it. I think it's like so, especially a vertical one. I love the sight picture. It's like just perfect when you look at that and you're just burying that one pin, single focus. But the thing I found is I am like obsessively adjusting that thing for yardage. And I can't, like, in my mind, I'm like, if he's at 31 yards and it's set to, the last time I ranged him, I set it to 28. I'm like, I got to go to 31. Or you don't really need to, but like I can't. So I'm like, so what I've done is I went to a 3-pin slider. And so I have this deal with myself. If he's inside of 40, I do not dial. I shoot the pin or pin gaps, because I've had a couple instances. But on that big one, honestly, like I was like getting a little cute with it. I killed him, but like, I don't know if you watch the footage, Matt. You said you did, but like there was I should have shot him before I did. Like I had an opportunity and was like kind of like dicking with my rangefinder and in the slider. So. And then I had a buck late season that I hit high. I don't know. It's tough to say if that would have changed it, but it wouldn't have hurt like that. And so I've made that decision, even though I don't like the 3-pin sight picture as much as a single pin. So I think you just learn what works for you, and like, you have that strategy and your style and that mindset. Right. And you tailor your game and your equipment to it. So. Like I said, if you can draw full draw for 4 whatever, then
it was pretty
no worries. Yeah,
pretty painful to watch that thing run away when he was at 13 yards.
So what happened? So he's coming right at you. You had no shot. Did you have a clear shot to him before that or no?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you did.
I had him at probably 20, 25 yards when he was feeding down through the oaks, but I thought he was going to go down the trail. There was a million rubs on this bench. Yeah. And they were all along that where he was going. Yeah. And what he had to walk in front of a hemlock tree, that's when I was going to draw, and I was going to stick him at 15 yards.
Did he start walking up the hill?
No, he, instead of going down the trail where all the rubs were, he walked right at my tree. So like he's like right when he should have went down like that, I thought he was.
I got you.
He kept coming right at me. And then there's a video of it on my YouTube channel. It's like Trials and Tribulations of Bow Hunting the Mountains, I think. But yeah, it's he
looked right up at you. Were you not that high?
No, I had 3 sticks.
Yeah, saddle.
Yeah. Oh, he was right
what
there.
What kind of tree are you in?
Oak.
Yeah,
that's about all there was. Right,
cover,
oak and little hemlocks. Yeah, beautiful spot.
Sounds like
way up high.
Damn.
Raining.
Oh, it sucks.
September 16th.
Dude, it sucks to have a big one in the.
Well, I say a big one.
Big enough.
I mean, I think he's a 3-year-old. Yeah. Because I ended up killing him. He weighed 162 pounds on the 14th of November, and he's just like this big goofy 5-pointer.
Sounds like he might be older than me.
All beams.
Is that's not like a light deer. Vermont.
That was New Hampshire.
Oh, that was still.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it depends. I don't know how heavy the deer are.
I think he's 3 or 4, something like that. I mean, I don't know, but he's cool. He's like this wide.
I think I saw the picture of that one.
He's just a big. He broke one of his twos. Only thing he had on that side was a tube. Broke it off.
Just got a beam.
A big beam, man. Yeah,
Beam.
he's a beamer. That's my buddies. I was like, I got one. They're like, what'd you get? Beamer.
He's got beam. Yeah, not the car.
He's got beams. Yeah.
Have you hunted other states at all outside of Northeast? Where have you been?
Well, I've hunted Ohio when I was a kid with my dad, and he used to take me down to Alabama a little bit when I was a kid. Yeah, we used to go down there. When I was real young, high schools, private schools would put on these like hunts, like all the people who it was like a private Catholic school or whatever.
Yeah.
All the people who owned property would put their property up for people to pay and come down, and it wasn't that expensive to come down and hunt on their land, and then all the money went towards the school athletics program.
Oh, really? I've never even heard of that.
It was pretty cool. Ton of deer.
So how did you get hooked up with that?
I don't know how my dad did it.
Oh, you know,
I was like 8 or 9 years old,
gotcha.
but
just a different culture. I can't imagine that.
It was so much fun.
Yeah.
The guys down
That's really
there,
cool.
Yeah, they had this like little hunting shack on their property, and they had like this one family. They had like 900 or 1,100 acres. I think they had some money, but we were sitting in this hunting cabin, like really run down cabin, and all the boys were standing around, and they're like, "Oh, it's time for lunch. What do you guys want?" And they like hemmed and hawed and everything. And like, "Well, I think we're gonna get fried chicken." Yeah, fried chicken. So they get fried chicken, and the next day, same song and dance. They're like, "Oh, what do you guys want?" Fried chicken again. They loved fried chicken in Alabama. But yeah, it was fun.
It's wild down there. It's actually I haven't deer hunted it, but we go down. I've been 2 or 3 times for turkey.
Mm-hmm.
But we also, both times. I think I've been there 3 times. I can't remember. Anyway, we hog hunt too because the hog season's open. So we've sat in a couple blinds over food plots, but like there's so many deer, but they're all like tiny. Like the small. Well, it depends where you are in Alabama. There are some bigger deer in some of the better habitat areas, but like this was like pine plantation. Was there? Yeah. This was like deep, like south, but like big woods, like big woods. But it's so fun. Like, and the other thing that I always tell people that you can do down there, and it's like wild, is you can hunt at night for hogs with a thermal.
That would be cool.
And that is like the craziest thing to just, and we just still hunt around. Like, so we just go through like on, roads or trails or even just through the woods. And it's like, it is wild. I think it's like this anywhere. You just can't see what's around you without the thermal. But when there's so many. I mean, you walk by bedded deer at 20 yards, and they don't even
letting you go.
because I don't know if as long as the wind's good, they're just like, I don't know, I'm not worried about it. It's just wild, like the stuff you can just walk. It's like the woods is alive with like, it's wild. So I really enjoy that, and I think deer hunting would be fun too. It's just a different style down there, but
yeah, they would all sit in like these big boxes, blinds and stuff, and like they had some food plots and stuff, but there was some good deer down there. They killed some big rack deer in that area. I mean, they'd killed a couple like 160 plus in that town every year. But it was definitely different. So I'm trying to think of the year. It would have been like probably around like 07, 08. The bag limit down there on deer was crazy back then. The QDMA hadn't hit Alabama yet. When I was there, I want to say it was something really nuts. Like you could shoot like,
I think for a while it was like you'd shoot like 2 a day for the whole season or something.
It was the rifle season opened in September, I want to say.
Yeah,
and it went till February. And you could shoot a buck and 5 does a day.
Yeah.
But the guys looked at it like squirrel hunting, like how we would look at squirrel hunting that's open for 4 months. They only deer hunted like 4 days a year, and they didn't really care about it.
Yeah.
But
do you know if they're big turkey hunters
down there?
Well, the guys you were down with, do you remember?
I can't remember. I was a kid.
Yeah, of course.
We didn't talk
That's
about
the thing
it,
I
really.
found is they're just like we talked about
I've
it
heard
earlier,
that though. Yeah.
It's just like,
well, so my buddy, I had this guy come up, Chris Jenkins. You know him? He's like, he's with the Backcountry Hunter, and
I think. Did you do a podcast with him?
Yes.
Or I think I might have listened to that podcast.
He's from Georgia, and he So he's he's been he was trying to kill a turkey in Vermont for a few years, like because he was doing the states thing, I think. And he found me for through Facebook or something, and he'd message me. I was like, dude, come up, we'll hunt,
Yeah.
And but he was explaining it to me then, because he's, like I said, Georgia, in the Appalachian Mountains down there, or Appalachian Mountains, how they say it. But like that's life. Turkey hunting is life. I'm like,
wild.
I don't really, like I like the turkey hunt, but I'm a deer hunter.
Yeah.
Like most guys in the Northeast are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really like to turkey hunt, but I'd say I'm probably like to turkey hunt more than the average guy around here, but still I'm kind of in the same boat. But like how we got on that Alabama ground is we swap hunts. So like we got hooked up with a couple guys down there, and they each have some pretty significant pieces of private. Which it seems like that's common down there. Like there's a lot of big tracts of private that like are being managed, and it's like a hunt club or like a lease or like someone owns it, but it's like, it's wild. Like the tracts are huge. Like in some of the areas they're like, this is like I think the one, oh man, how much did they have? They they're in two different areas of Alabama, and they're each, I don't remember, but they're each well over 1,000 acres. Wow. I think one of them may be almost 3,000. It's a lot of land. And you're like, hey, can we deer hunt? Yeah, kill as many as you want. You want to kill hogs? Yeah, kill as many. Hey, the turkey. Yeah, the turkeys are a little bit. It's like you might. Yeah, it's like a whole different thing. Like they're like, oh no, the turkeys. Well, you can come, but like you can hunt like this, like 50 acres over here, and like sorry, like it's just a way different thing, which we were fine with, and we did kill turkeys down there, but it's way different, and it's interesting that they're just like that's their thing. They just love it. And I think it's probably because, like you're saying, we were talking earlier, it's like kind of the opposite. Deer are pretty damn easy to kill down there. Turkeys are not easy to kill down south. They're way harder than down here. So I think that's probably, a lot of humans that hunt like a challenge, right? Yeah. So if it's really easy to kill the deer, then whatever, and the hogs. But if the turkeys are a challenge, then that's their thing. So it's kind of flip-flopped.
Yeah, that makes sense. I haven't really thought about it like that.
So what do you got? So the channel, I actually saw, I think I messaged you a bit ago, but you've been putting some more stuff on the channel that I thought was good. I think you did, I'm trying to remember I think you did something going over like your saddle setup. Oh, yeah. I thought that was pretty cool. I don't see a lot of the stuff. Like I said, I think you're interesting because you're really a good tracker and you love tracking, but then you do the other things, and I just appreciate the versatility in people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So
I mean, thanks to my dad, because like he was a big bow hunter.
Yeah.
So I was a little guy bow hunting.
Yeah.
Like really little, like 10, 11 years old with a little tiny bow. I missed like 50 deer when I was a kid with a bow. I swear. I couldn't hit anything, but I got hooked on it.
That's because you weren't drawing early.
That might have been it. I remember this one time because we had food plots on our property, and my dad he's really into the whole thing, and I had this 4-pointer come into the food plot, and I drew, and I'm literally probably 9 years old.
Yeah.
I'm shooting like 40 pounds. Yeah. This little tiny, I think it was called a bear cub. And I shot, and that arrow, I watched it, sailed right between his antlers like a goalpost. And he took off running. I'll never forget that. But
what was I going to say? So so tell people about your channel. What is your plan with that? Like, how's it been going? Like all that stuff. Because I think some of your videos are doing pretty damn good.
Yeah, they're doing good. I mean, I've really tried to focus on like my editing and stuff, and like, I'm trying to get better with my production value. I do a lot of GoPro stuff, which is good, especially for the tracking. But
what are you running for a rig on that?
Now I'm running a 13, which is the newest GoPro with the external battery in my pack, with the cord, with the pass-through door. The new pass-through doors are magnetic. They're really sweet, and I loop.
Okay. What are you running for a card? Big one?
512, but you don't need it because you're looping 5 minutes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So whenever it runs all day, and whenever you click the button, it saves the previous 5 minutes. It's perfect for tracking or deer hunting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is it on? What do you have for a rig, for like a mounting rig?
So with a stagger pack, I run his frame.
Okay.
But then I also made one out of 1/2-inch PVC for my bigger frame pack.
Is that similar to the one like Jeff Doyle runs?
Yeah, it's that same
okay.
thing. Doyle
Gotcha.
view.
Yeah. Okay.
I used to run it on my head, but then when I got into the looping thing, it has to be because like I like my stuff to be like, tight and good. And if you're gonna be looping with it on your head, the cord would just have to be like flopped.
Oh yeah.
So I like the frame because I have these like little Velcro straps.
Yeah.
And I have it Velcroed all the way down into my pack, so the cord doesn't
catch on anything.
No, it's tight. And but
have you had many issues with snow on the lens? No. Okay. Yeah.
Not yet.
I haven't either. We run a little different. I actually run it on with a shoulder rig. It goes, the one I got, where is that thing? It worked super good this year. I was like, I've had them in the past and they're like kind of like don't really stay up and like, where the hell is that? I think it's over there somewhere. We'll have to grab it. I'll show you.
Where are those beers at?
Oh, right there. Wait, where are they?
This is going to be a 2-beer podcast, I guess.
Did you go get the cooler?
It's right here.
Right here.
Oh.
A little pause. A little
You guys
beer
just
break.
had to say something.
Oh, I did.
I already did.
I finally
a second
did.
pour.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Oh, we got to catch up. Yeah.
All right, we'll take a little break.
All right.
So anyway, my shoulder rig goes on my left shoulder as a right-handed shooter, and then it gives a kind of a cool. I like the view, and if you angle it right, you get everything out in front too. So it's like it's a lot of things. Or the problem sometimes is on that right shoulder, and you swing like that deer's to the left there. It's like you can't see it. It almost has to be. Depends on how your shoulders are, but if it's right here, basically it's just following your arm, which is pointing at the deer when you're shooting, right? So anyway, it worked pretty good.
Yeah,
and of course we have a camera guy, so it's a little bit different.
That is different.
Yeah, and he can honestly monitor that too. And we don't run battery packs, but we run the those white cold weather batteries. They seem, I mean, how long are those things? Those things last for a while.
A lot better.
At least an hour and a half, probably running straight. So I don't know. It's worked out pretty good. Definitely worked out on that hunt. Even Ross we've had a good luck with it. But I think if we were like your style, and like that was the main angle, and we're like going all day, we probably would maybe look at something a little different. But it seems to work for like as a second angle.
Yeah, for sure.
It's such a cool angle though.
It is
like both on either shoulder. It's such like. I those thumbnails, I don't know if you noticed that. Those thumbnails of that angle, people love those thumbnails.
Yeah, so I mean that's like you bring that up and like we were just talking about the channel, like I'm like really kind of into like playing the YouTube game.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I'm really trying to work on building like a really good organic base, you know, and the channel has been growing. And like I said earlier in the podcast, thanks to a couple big deer, that got me off the ground.
Yeah.
But now it seems like I have a good base and it's just growing. So hopefully I would like to, just get bigger with it and just keep going. And I have a bunch of guys filming for it now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have some deals worked out with them. And
is that new? Did you put, let's see, my mind, I kind of like just want to pull up your channel, so I'm gonna. Because my mind is like, I can't remember anything. You can ask him or anybody else. I like remember things, and then I'm like, wait, is that true? Was that? And it's so bad, but that's just the way I am.
You need to write things down.
Yeah, it's terrible. I just have too many things.
So a bunch of the guys filmed hunts this past fall. They killed bucks, and so but what I do is I save them.
Okay.
Till the next fall.
Gotcha. So it's been worked up for. Okay, so that.
I did a season update. It's called. I've been doing that for the last 2 years, and I touched on it. Yeah.
Are you putting your podcast on that channel?
So when we film
what's going on with that? Yeah, sorry.
When we film them, I put it on. The
okay,
YouTube
so you don't film. I don't film them all. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Just certain ones.
Yeah, I think I watched. I don't know.
Timmy Miramontes is a really good one.
He's
a wild man.
He is a character.
Yeah, he is.
I
think he walked up. I had no idea who he was.
HuntStand.
He walked up
and he started talking, and I'm like, who is this guy?
Dude, that old
what is he talking about?
That old boy has killed some freaking bucks.
Yeah. Man. And he was telling me about like the old days, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, dude. And he was like going on and on. I was like, I talked to him. He came up to our booth, and I talked to him for a long time.
Oh yeah.
And And then like Jeremy and I, you know, you can just sometimes when you're talking to people, you're like, there's something different about this dude. Like not like a bad thing.
No.
Just like something. Yeah. Something
he's a real
different.
deal.
And I remember after Jeremy, he's like, that guy's insane. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I'm like, okay. So he's not full of shit. He's like, no. I'm like, okay. All right. That's awesome then. Legit. Like you just never know sometimes, but I was like, well, that's pretty sweet. So yeah, it was cool to talk to him.
Yep.
So, are you gonna run some You said you had a camera guy last year? So how do you
had a baby.
Oh, that's tough.
So
that's
really I lost my camera guy.
Was he willing to give up time to film?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's tough to find that.
I was paying him.
Okay.
So I mean, I think that helps.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it helps a little bit.
So if anybody listening to this no, I mean I would love to have Josh film. I have good chemistry with him in the woods. I know it's kind of weird to say that, but
just in the middle of the woods, just two dudes, right?
No, but you really need to have you need to have a good connection with the guy that has 100%. The camera.
Yeah,
especially
if you
tracking.
don't think the same way, it doesn't work.
Man, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
I think especially when you're trying to film track. But I mean, I've had some guys in the past that we've had film or, you know, I've hunted with that like I just really didn't have that with. And I'm like, I don't really want to be in the woods with you, man.
Exactly.
Like, and I didn't say that, but I'm like, I don't like, I don't think I'm going to hunt with him. Like, it just is what it is. Like, I'm just like, and then it doesn't happen because like you just find every excuse to, I'm just going to go out. Like, I don't want to, I just don't want to, you know, there's some people you don't go, you know, vibe with. So yeah, it's important. So I'm wondering, it's hard, man, to get a camera guy and film.
But I like
tracking.
I like doing the GoPro thing. Like I think you can do banger videos with that
for sure.
That style if
people
you edit
love
them
it.
well.
Yeah.
If you know, and that's what I'm like really trying to focus on is like I'm gonna like try to smack you in the face with my editing like right off the bat and get people because like YouTube's really big with like if people just stay on your video for a certain amount of time you get higher up in the list and all the way down to the thumbnails and everything. You know, like I said, I've been doing it for 5 years now and it's like through the years it's weird. It's like I couldn't do it all at once, like learn everything.
No,
but I would just take a piece. You know, and like, okay, I'm going to really learn how to edit. And I did that. And then, okay, I'm going to get better with the cameras. And okay, I'm going to do the thumbnails, you know, and now it's kind of all starting to come together. And I feel like I'm starting to, you know, like for a while I'd watch my videos and I wouldn't be happy with how they would come out. I am really happy with how my videos are coming out now. So it's like, but it's a lot too when you're filming it.
It's a ton, man. I don't do
editing.
I don't do any of the editing,
dude.
I won't. Dude. Like I went. What year? I tried. So Ross and I, way back, we used to live together. Not in like a domestic partnership, like, not like in a weird way.
Like chemistry way.
Yeah. I don't know. We had great chemistry.
I can play that interview again. You guys look like you.
You can't. Go ahead. Air it right now. Roll the interview. The most embarrassing. Anyway. No, it was back in, I guess it was 2011. Long time ago. Mm-hmm. We were both single. Both single. At least I think we lived together for like 2 or 3 years. We were roommates. And so we were just like hunt and film. Like that's all we did. Like we had jobs, but we didn't have families and didn't really even have girlfriends at that point. So we were just like getting after it. And that's when we were mostly hunting like Ohio. So like I remember one year we went out, we had a lease out there and we had a good amount of ground too. So it wasn't like we were going to the same like 40 every time. We had, I think, I don't know how much we had at that point, a few hundred acres at least. We went out 12 different times to Ohio in a calendar year. Like we went hard, and it would be, and a lot of those were like literally like work all day, leave New Hampshire Friday after work, drive through the night, and be like hunting and just like sickos. I used to call them suicide trips because that's what they were like, and be back on work on Monday morning just like fried. But we used to do, or maybe would take one day, but it was never like, oh, let's drive out on Friday and then we'll start hunting. No, it was like drive out Friday night and would like take turns driving. It was craziness. And I forgot where I was going. Oh, so anyway, we'd film this stuff and then I would like try to start to edit it. And I just was like, I don't want to edit. I just don't like it. Like I want to see the footage. And then I remember Midwest Whitetail was like producing all this semi-live content. And I was like, I wonder if like we just like got on their team and like they just edited it. Like, at least it'd be edited. So I remember I was like, hey, Ross, what do you think of that? He's like, oh, sure, why not? Let's try it. And that was like perfect. I just shipped it off and they produced. And then the first year that we were that we filmed for them, John Lewis was an intern at Midwest Whitetail. So he called me because like we were like freaking real dialed in, like just big into it. And we would like respond and send footage all the time. And he's like, hey, like, now a lot of the other guys aren't sending me anything to edit because he had to edit the E show. He's like, hey, do you think you can like do shoot something on this and this? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So anyway, that was from that day on. I don't think I've edited a single damn thing. And that was what year is that? 2000, I think 13 was our first year there. So it's been 12 years since I've screwed with editing.
Yeah, no, I do enjoy it.
Do you? Yeah,
I really actually do. Like, there's a weird part of me that like late at night I just lock in.
Yeah,
I can just go to town and edit for like 3.5 hours straight. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. It's almost like when I was a kid, I liked to play video games, and now this is almost like
that makes sense.
Similar, in a way. Like, I don't play video games anymore, but I edit video. So I'm hoping that maybe down the road I can like use the skill in like another way to make money, if that makes sense. Like like weddings or something, like, because it is a skill, but
I mean,
and plumbing's hard. It's hard work, you know, like, I don't want to do it my whole life, but
well, I mean, there's definitely opportunity. I think a lot of people, everybody wants to, if they're in this world, they're like, oh, I want to edit and film and photograph like outdoor shit. But like really, honestly, most of the money is not in the outdoors.
No.
It's in like, doing like product shoots and commercials and like stuff for like big companies. That's where most of it is. But then again, it's not
unobtainable.
No, like, and then at that point, maybe you're not doing what you love to do. So
exactly.
I don't know. Maybe the allure of it isn't the same as, I'm not really in I don't know. So
I've never thought like, okay, I want to hunt for a living. I've never thought that way. But I have always thought, okay, what if it could be a sustainable hobby?
Yeah.
Like, what if it could pay for?
I think it could be.
Yeah.
And the advantage you have, you got some guys now, it sounds like, but if you are by yourself and you're doing this, it is so much easier, because as that team grows, the budget has to grow.
Oh yeah.
And you have to bring in more revenue, right?
Yep.
Like, and it becomes, it's challenging. You have way more costs. And now, like, if you have had revenue from YouTube, or you have a sponsorship, or you're selling merch, whatever you're doing, now you have to pay other people, and it has to go in, several different directions. Where if it's just you and you're keeping it small, that's what I've seen a lot with like the particularly on YouTube, the channels that like do really well. It's like usually one guy, right? So that's something to consider. And that's one thing we don't do well with, is we have so many damn guys. Not that we like have to pay them all a bunch of money. That's not the case at all. Believe me. But
for the love of the game, right, boys?
But it would be, if there was one guy that had, it's like when you have, Just Hunt Club employs right now 3 people full time at the time. Or it's been like that for at least 3 or 4 years. That's, we got to bring in some, it's not as easy. I'll just say that, right? Like, it's not as easy. And a lot of it is what you're talking about, is doing contract work for, other people, sponsors and partners. That's where a lot of it comes from. It's tough. You have to have some pretty ridiculous views consistently to make real money off YouTube ad rev. Like, and you know that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, people think like, you get a video that does 50,000 views and like you're getting written now.
No.
Like you can't hardly survive off that.
Oh,
and
no.
Like, you can have in some, you have one really good video that does well and you make a little bit of money off it. But like on average, it's not there. You have to have other streams of income to do it full time and to make it sustainable. But like for like a guy like you, that's, doing most of it yourself. Like, there's probably an opportunity for you to do pretty well at it.
I mean, I'm happy with the ad revenue thus far. You know, I run it like a business. Basically, every penny I've made so far, I've invested back into the business. Yeah. So like, I'm just like literally every penny I've made, I've just bought cameras and equipment and mics and this and that. And, and I keep just pouring it back in. And hopefully it's gonna.
When you branched off on your own from Northwoods, did you have to start from scratch with gear and all that stuff?
No. So actually, so what happened there was I was like a producer for them.
Yeah.
And I didn't get paid, but I got really nice equipment to use. Mm-hmm. And when I walked away, I got to keep the equipment. So it was a pretty good deal. Mm-hmm. I had done probably, 15 videos or something for them. So, I mean, it was a lot of work, but I got really nice equipment out of it. But I didn't have any of their camera gear or anything like that. I just produced for them. Mm-hmm. So I had already had my channel at that time.
Right. So is the podcast, you have a co-host?
Yes.
Okay.
Morgan Gouveia. So
has he been there the whole time?
No, he started in, I think we were just talking about this the other day. I think we figured it was in July. It was right after, kind of a little after I had done yours.
Okay, that's why I'm thinking. And to be honest, I haven't listened. I listened to a few. I don't listen to as many hunting podcasts as I used to.
Yep.
Now I'm doing one, so this sounds ridiculous. But I think a lot of
I don't either.
Okay.
I don't either because like my thing is if I'm gonna be talking about it all the time, I don't want to listen to it all the time. Like the podcasts that I listen to are like political podcasts and like comedy podcasts.
Gotcha.
Kind of funny to say that, but it's true because it's like I do a hunting podcast.
Yeah.
I don't want to just.
You don't want to burn yourself out on
exactly.
that.
Like when I talk about it, I want it to be me. Like
Well, and then the other thing, and I'm not saying this about. I think I actually enjoy some of yours. There's a few that I enjoy, and it's like particular conversations that I know. I'm like, oh, I'm interested in that. That's usually what it is with hunting podcasts. I'll like, it's on my Spotify and YouTube, and I look at them, and I'm like, I shouldn't do this, but I'm like kind of judging by like, what the title is and who it is, and it's like, and sometimes, admittedly, I don't even know the person. It could be the best podcast, but I'm like, I don't know who that is, and I don't know I don't. Like the title, I'm not really interested in what they're saying, so I don't like it. It could be I'm probably missing out on some of them, but the ones that I do, it's like, oh, that's a topic I'm really interested in. That guy's I want to hear what he has to say, and so I'll click on it. But I don't listen to a lot, so I guess that's my point. Is, and I know I have listened to yours, and I know there's been some really cool conversation. Then I'm thinking, oh, I did yours, and I'm like, where'd the co-hosts come in? I'm like, I gotcha. Okay, so you guys do that.
Yeah, we have a really unique situation where that like we work together a lot.
You do? Okay.
So when I get a job, he subs with me. When he gets a job, I sub with him.
What does he do?
Plumbing. So
both plumbers. Okay.
So like it works out nice because if it wasn't for that, we would just be alone. And it's really nice to have two guys, like especially plumbing on a job site. Yeah. So it works out really good. So but we're always together. Yeah. And our schedules are pretty much the same. So it works out really good in that sense.
That's good.
Yeah, and he's diehard. Like he's just like us, He's a big turkey guy too.
Is he?
Oh, crazy.
Bigger than you?
Oh my God.
Oh, he's a big turkey.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, he's only been into the whitetail stuff for like 4 years because he chased turkeys all over the country for like all his 20s. He's a little older than I am. He's 35, but he's a good guy.
Oh, shit. So as far as I think we talked about it a little bit, but before what's I know you get really fixated on the Northeast, and it's funny because the more I've been all over, but like I actually tend to like see myself wanting to spend more and more time in the Northeast, which is funny. What other places do you like? What are bucket list things for you? Do you have those? Do you think about that?
Well, bucket list stuff.
Maybe not like bucket list, but like things you want to like
that
try.
I want to do.
Like,
I definitely want to go like public land hunt. I want to bow hunt in like Maryland.
Okay.
I want to bow hunt like West Virginia, and like I'd love to try Illinois public. Maybe start applying for Iowa.
Yeah.
You know, like I'd like to do, because I like to bow hunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like tracking's always going to be here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always going to do it.
Well, and some like particularly like you said, Iowa, you should apply, and it starts. What's today?
I looked the other day.
3 weeks you can start to apply. I think, or is it June?
And it's 5 years, right? 6 years.
It depends where you go, but it's going to probably be 5 years, and it's not like you apply this year, you get a point, next year a point, and then the 5 years is of points, and then it's like the 6 years, so it's really 6 years.
Yeah, I thought I said on another podcast, I thought I had 3. I only have 2. I was a little sad when I looked the other day.
So I killed that buck, the second one in there in Iowa.
Oh yeah.
In 15.
Oh, he's got cool brows.
Yeah, he was a cool deer. He was the third biggest deer on the property I was hunting. That was only 40 acres, which tells you a little bit about Iowa. But
it's good.
Yeah, it's wild. I saw 22 bucks in a day and a half.
Wow.
Bow hunting in the timber, not like out. I couldn't see. None of these deer were outside of 80 yards, so 22 bucks inside 80 yards. And yeah, it was wild. So it is worth doing and putting those points in, or getting those points and going
I gotta
to
do it.
And the good thing for you would be the best time, in my opinion, in Iowa is probably like the 1st through the 10th or 12th. Yeah. So chances are it's not when the snow's. It could be, but it's not when the best tracking is. For the most part, I would say. Well, if you get snow during that period, it can be the best tracking. Yeah. But it usually doesn't come that early. So anyway, you could bow hunt Iowa for 10 days and then come home and have the best stuff ahead of you.
It'd be fun, man. It's one of those things I've always dreamed about it, because it's like I'm not like I can get on deer in the Northeast with my bow. Like I think out there I could like do some damage.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
For sure you could, 100%.
But
the thing that so I killed after I put in for it. I had 5 points when I drew that one. Then I was like, oh, I can draw 1 point for late muzzleloader. Mm-hmm. And so I've been doing that, and I killed that one late muzzleloader out there a couple years ago. And then I think this year I have a point again. I think I might draw another late muzzleloader tag for this fall. So that'll be kind of like the trip for me. Well, I may go to Alberta again, but and I don't know what that looks like or when. Luckily, I have a pretty flexible schedule up there, which is I kind of like that too. But so I don't know what that looks like. But anyway, Iowa's awesome. That's like if you're gonna bow hunt the Midwest, like you want to do that, put in for Iowa points. Just go to Iowa and do it. Yeah. Like you can mess around in Illinois and getting some good stuff on public, but if you're gonna like plan it, like Iowa is still really good.
And I'm not like really into the like Kansas thing. Like I don't know, like the plain stuff doesn't really appeal to me. Yeah. I want to be in the timber. Yeah. You know what I mean? I want to be in the oaks and stuff in the hills. Yeah. But another thing I would really like to do at some point is maybe like some like this is like kind of off the walls, but like some crazy sheep hunt with like a bow, like high in the mountains.
You
like
and me both, brother.
Dude, that'd be so sick.
You better start putting in now.
It'd be so sick, man.
It's just so hard to draw, and then if you
just draw when you're walking up the mountain. You start walking up.
That's not what I meant. I meant drawing a tag, but yeah, sure. Isaac's secret to sheep hunting: just draw at the bottom, and the tag comes with the draw.
So it's hard.
It's so hard to draw a sheep tag. That's
like 10 years.
Oh,
or like never.
Okay, so the moose odds in the Northeast, like
bad,
like way worse than that.
Wow.
They call it sheep odds. It's like, so you're saying there's a chance.
Why?
Because the herds are limited.
Draw, and a lot of people put in for it.
Aren't that many animals. Like there's like particular herds, and they just don't have that many animals in them.
And money plays.
It's either a 1% of 1% chance of drawing, or your whole year's worth of money you made to go kill a sheep.
Ooh, I don't like that.
It's insane, dude. Like people, what did William say?
For a stone sheep, he said $150,000.
No thanks.
I think.
And what was the doll? He said like
he said
30 now, right?
Yeah. Which used to be the cheapest. Or, I mean, it
be,
is the cheapest still.
So,
but
yeah, you used to be able to get, and this is like a guaranteed tag through like
an outfitter,
like which is like the only way you're going to get.
$30,000.
So it is possible to do it for less. However,
I don't know how.
I don't know. It would be.
You have to make a lot of money or save for a really long time.
Or just be born rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think bow hunting the elk rut would be really. It's the rut, right?
Well, I don't. They do rut.
Yeah, so that's what it's called. I didn't know.
Oh,
it was
yeah,
called.
yes,
the elk rut.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Vermont boy through and through.
It's actually it's called the elk scramble.
The scramble. I don't know.
I'm kidding. It's called the rut.
Yeah. So I would like to do that too. I think I just like to do hard shit, and that seems like it's pretty hard,
I think that's a hard one.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna try to do that next September.
Oh yeah.
Or the following, depending. I got a few points in Colorado, and I should be able to draw a decent unit. And I'm kind of like looking at, they're changing some rules and some, like, basically it sounds like there's a mix-up coming with the points.
Oh.
So, like, I may have a chance to draw a pretty good unit in the next few years that I like previously wouldn't have been able to draw, if that makes sense with what they're doing. So I don't know. We'll see. That's on my radar. I've been buying Western points for a while.
Yeah.
And I just haven't I've hunted elk one morning because I had a tag because I had to buy one in Montana to get a whitetail tag because it was like a combo and that was the only license left. So I paid way too much money for a freaking whitetail tag. Then I found elk and I was like, all right, I'll go after him. I got a tag. Why not? But yeah, elk would be cool. Sheep would be amazing. But like I said, I just don't know for the average guy. Oh, it'd be awesome. Yeah. But I mean, who the hell, like I said, it's like, stupid odds. Like you probably like if I don't even know if it's like if you applied for like 2 lifetimes if you would
really
no. I think
so it's like super crazy.
I think it's 1% of 1%.
Yeah.
With sheep odds. They're like the worst odds of any draw of anything, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I don't have any like interest in moose.
You don't?
Nope. I think they're dumb. I just walk up on them all the time. They're dumb, you know.
I think it'd be really fun to shoot one with a bow, though, coming in grunting.
Sure, sure, it would. It would.
I want to do that pretty bad.
They're still dumb, though.
Yeah, no, they're not like a whitetail.
I put in for Maine the other day. Yeah,
Did you?
Yeah, I killed a.
Not knocking anybody that wants to moose hunt.
I want personally. Fine, I don't take it. I really want to kill a New England bull bad with a bow.
I was lucky enough. I mean, they were giving out a lot more permits then, but. When I was 10 years old, I drew one my second year ever applying in Vermont and shot a little cow.
No kidding.
Yeah, but
and that's cool too.
It's so long ago, I barely remember it. Like I would really like to go shoot a bull with a bow.
Oh, so we have my dad, his business partner, and another good friend of them. They have like their partners, and they have a cabin up in Pittsburgh. New Hampshire, and I've been going up there since I was like, I don't know, 10, 12, something like that. And that's actually where I started bow hunting, which was pretty tough.
That's a pretty hard place to start.
Yeah, I was like, this.
It only gets
like, why did I never see anything ever?
It only goes up from there, though.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So I've always like the dream for me has been to draw a New Hampshire moose tag. For zone A1 or A1 or A2. Yep. And hunt out of that cabin up there. Like that's been my dream. And it's like, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, you know? Like it's just, the odds have just gone down. I you know, because at one point they were decent. Like you're probably going to draw at some point. Like I think they were 1 in 22 when I first started applying.
Oh, that ain't bad.
Yeah. And then now I don't know what they are. They're bad.
How many points do you have?
Well,
does
I
it
lost
even
10
matter?
points. I don't know.
To the point.
I mean, it matters, but like, yeah, it's tough.
Because I hear stories all the time about people applying their whole lives and they never get it, and then somebody just applies and gets it. So I don't understand how that works.
Yeah. Well, it's a true. So there's two ways that they do it, right? They on a limited draw basis. They either have, and there's hybrid systems, but in general, it's a lottery. So literally, it's just like pull a name out of a hat, and if you have like points, you just get your name in the hat that many more times. But that you could still never draw if you could pull the one name that is in there one time, right? You have a better odds, but it's not like you're guaranteed anything. And then there's like a true preference point system, and that's what Iowa has, and that's what Colorado has. So what that means is the guy with the most preference points will draw that tag. Mm-hmm. And then when he draws that tag, the guy with the second most preference points gets a tag, and they go down the line until they have no more tags left. So eventually, unless there's something called points creep, which means that like there's a bunch of people that have the same amount of points as you, and there's so many people applying that like you'll never actually catch up to the amount of points it takes to draw a tag, and that's a thing out west, and it's a big deal. But like in Iowa, for example, that's not really so much of a thing. Like if you put in, you will draw a tag in for the best zones in like 5 to 7 years. It's going to happen. Like you'll get it. But if it was a lottery, you may not. It's just a crapshoot. You just don't know what's going to happen. And then there's states that have no point, like Arizona. Is it Arizona or New Mexico? I think it's Arizona.
You just put your name in.
You just put your name in. There's no points. Every year, you put your name in one time and then draw.
Just a lottery.
It's just a pure lottery. Yep, every year.
The whitetail points thing in Iowa is such an interesting concept because, like, imagine if Ohio went to, like, a draw state. How good it could get.
It'd be scary.
Right? But, I mean, I do think that is the reason why Iowa is Iowa, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
for sure. You can't hate on it.
No.
It's fine. Like, go have your awesome time if you're going to bow hunt every 6 years, if you're going to gun hunt.
Or you move to Iowa.
Or you can move to Iowa and be that guy.
Be that guy, I mean, but, yeah, it's an interesting way to look at it. Like, I've thought about it a lot. Like, I think Vermont should shut down buck hunting for, like, 3 years.
Yeah, they can't.
I know, but
they could restrict it.
It'd be the only way they could fix it.
They could restrict it though to make it.
The one buck thing helped.
Sure.
Now
we can shoot two.
What do you mean?
They've got a law coming into a next year.
Yeah, there's a proposal that you can shoot a second buck now.
Oh, if it's 3 points on a side on the first one.
I hadn't heard about that.
Oh, it's on the first one.
Yeah, 3 points on the side on the first. Yeah, but all the guys that were shooting 2 bucks were shooting 2 rack bucks. You know what I mean? It's like the guys that were shooting 2 bucks were shooting 2 good bucks.
I gotcha.
So it's not going to
that makes sense.
And it's it's like the guys, they say it's like such a low percentage, but like in these areas that guys were shooting 2 bucks, like they'd shoot 2 bucks every year.
Yeah.
Because they got it dialed, but
when you hunted Ohio, how old were you?
Young.
Do you remember much about it?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I shot one down there when I was like 10 or 11. Shot a nice little 9-pointer.
Do you remember generally what area you were hunting?
Coshocton, near Muskegon.
Muskingum?
Yeah, near the place was called Fire Creek Outfitters.
I haven't heard of Fire Creek.
Yeah, well, this was
like a while ago.
Literally 20 years ago.
Okay,
but,
so
yeah,
it was like you see some wild stuff there?
Saw some bucks, man. Saw a lot of deer. I mean, it wasn't.
What year? So you were 8, so it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, literally, probably 20 years ago. I mean, it would probably have been
2007
or 8.
Oh, that late. Really? Okay, so you hunted. So I keep saying it, and I've said it before. When I first went to Ohio, which was in 2009, it was wild. It was wild. Like the stuff I saw was like.
We went during shotgun season.
Okay.
And this was an outfitter. Like, I think he definitely put people through it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And we saw a deer. I shot a nice buck. But it wasn't like, I guess, so it's funny. We used to get North American whitetail.
Yep.
And we got this but we got this magazine. And there was this like 190-inch typical on the front of it, and I was just a little kid, and I was like, "Dad, look, Ohio." I was like, "We need to go here." Yeah. And he's like, "All right, yeah, we'll see," and whatever. And we ended up going down, and but yeah, I probably had higher expectations. I was also a kid, you know.
I know, yeah.
Coming from Vermont, which is like, my dad's like, it's probably going to be great.
Especially 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's tough. Yeah. When I first went out there, it was like.
Was it wild?
Oh, my God. Yeah. It was like. the one behind the light there, that 6x, the white racked.
Oh yeah, I see him.
That's the first. I killed that. So that killed that deer my second morning there.
Was it private?
Yeah. It's like a good friend now, but it's where I killed every Ohio buck. Yeah, I hunt. He's got a bunch of. He has an outfitter.
Yep.
And he have you heard of Ben Rising?
Yeah. He's like hooked in with the hunting public.
No, he used to be with Drury's.
Oh.
And then he was. I actually found about that area through him. He could kill a 200-inch deer, and he was in Ohio. I'm like, that's kind of close-ish, like closer. And I'm like, he's killing some good deer. So I like stalked him and found his number and called him. I swear to God, dude, I was like 21, and I was like, I'm gonna. And it was funny when I was stalking him. I found out that he had just started like an outfitting business, and it was like he hadn't even like I don't know how I figured it out. It was before like it was even anybody even knew. And so he partnered with who's like my really good friend now, Jared Hawkins. And he's got his family, Jared, they're a big, huge logging family. So they have a big lumber mill. Mm-hmm. And they buy and sell and cut timber and like that. So they have a bunch of ground. Mm-hmm. And he was like partnering with Jared and they're running this operation. They since have kind of split up. Jared still has the business. But anyway, I went there in 2009 for the first time. And I just remember calling Ben. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, who are you? Like, how'd you get my number? Like, how'd you even know any of this? Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know. But like, I really want to come out there and bow hunt. And I was like, I don't really want to do like an outfit. I don't like want a guided hunt though. Like, but can you can I pay you like a trespass fee to get on some good ground? He's like, yeah, we can probably work something out. So that's what we did. And it was just like, dude, it was
crazy,
insane. It was insane. Like, I remember we had this little cabin that was like had no electricity. It didn't have anything actually. I don't even know if it had. I can't remember what it has now. But it was like up on this ridge. Mm-hmm. It's like in the woods, and they're like, yeah, you can just stay there and hunt. Like, and we had like
like hunt.
You can hunt. Like hunt. Well, you could have honestly, or just like hunt. It was on like 100 acres, and then there was a couple other places we had. And he's like, hey, you guys, whatever, like go scout. Like, here's a map of like the place. Just stay on the property. Don't do anything dumb, like piss off the neighbors, and go for it. And that area, it's in that farm was in Holmes County, which is just north of Coshocton County. But I've like. That deer's from Coshocton County. Deer's from Coshocton
Well, did you ever hear about the guy who was killing deer hunters down there?
No.
Okay, so there was
sounds scary.
Yeah. So there was a guy in the woods in Coshocton area with a rifle during deer season, and he was shooting deer hunters. And he was living in these old abandoned houses. Swear to God, he was living in these old.
Text my buddy about that.
Yeah.
When was that? Back in the day.
Back in the day, like so. But getting to the story, the end of the story here. So he would stay in these old abandoned houses in the woods. That's what reminded me was that cabin you're talking. And he would light them. Like he would set them on fire when he would go to like find his next spot. And one of those places was on this place that we hunted. All that was left was the chimney. He's like, yeah, he torched that one, and he went around just shooting deer hunters.
How many people did he kill?
I can't remember. You'd have to look into it, but do some research.
That's weird.
But.
So
anyway, sorry.
So no, it's fine. So this cabin was up on the ridge, and I remember we got there and we had met Ben and Jared, and they're like, whatever, just kind of gave us the rundown. Like, and actually we met them like at the base of like down in this bottom, like that's the cabin up. You could see it from the bottom. It was way up on the ridge, like on this timbered ridge, and it was on this little flat in this little clearing. I was like, cool. And he's just like, here's the map. There was no Onyx then. So he had like printed out like from like the county, like the map of like the property lines. Like, here you go. Like you can hunt these 3 spots, and they're all within like, 10 minutes of like the cabin. I was like, and one we could hunt outside the cabin. And then there was another that was just down the road that was like 5 minutes. And then we had one that was maybe 10 minutes. So I was like, cool. And they all look like, they just look nice, like nice big timber ridges, like fun. It was like, all right, great. So like I remember we ran and like it was with my buddy Rick, and we ran up in there and just scouted. But when we drove up, we left them and it was November like 1st or something like that. We drove up to the cabin. I remember driving up. It was like, I don't know, like middle of the day. and there's like 150-inch, like he was an 8 with like a big deep split like muley G2 just standing next to the cabin. I was like, oh my God, like what is this? And then like I was like, this is amazing. So we get there, and then it was like getting late, we're getting unpacked, and I'm like, I remember thinking, I'm like, dude, like let's just hunt like right here. Like that 8 was there, and like so like that night we just both sat within 100 yards of the cabin on that ridge, and like I saw like 104, like a 130 and a 140 coming off the ridge. It was just like, oh my God, dude. Wow. It was just like insane, and I was like, this is wild. So we had done some scouting and hung some stands. The first morning I had like an unbelievable hunt. Like saw like 9 bucks and like passed like 2 deer that I shouldn't have passed.
Was it just not pressured, or was it just happening?
There wasn't as many people hunting it.
Really?
Yeah, just less pressure. Happening. It was just like wild.
See, I've yet to like, because I've hear these stories, guys. Like you tell me about like the promised land, like Ontario, like Ohio 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I just haven't.
I hit it at the end of the glory days for sure. Like and it's still good. Don't get me wrong. Like you can still go and kill a giant deer in Ohio.
I've scouted a bunch of public.
Like I killed. I had a great hunt this year in Ohio. That was actually, I guess, that actually wasn't on my buddy's land. It was a different area of Ohio. But I guess I forgot about that. So that I did kill one deer that wasn't on his ground. But and it was my biggest Ohio deer too, which is interesting. But anyway,
late, right? You shot him late.
Yeah, January.
Real nice buck. I remember.
Yeah. But I mean, it was like, and then the second morning. So it was the first. What did I do the second? I don't remember what I did this first night. Or the second night. But the second morning, I went up on the ridge above that cabin, climbed up it in the morning, got up in there, and I killed that deer at like 8:30. Wow. I just remember looking down the ridge and just seeing that 6-point side with the big white. I was like, oh,
good enough.
Like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And he just marched right up the ridge to me, and I shot him at like 30 yards. Yeah. And it was, and then so the other thing is driving into town, like from the cabin into town, like which was maybe like 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. The shit you would see at night, like running across the road, it was like, what the hell is this? It's like
giants.
Jurassic Park.
Really?
It's like running, chasing. God. It was like, oh my God.
Like drop tines and everything.
Yeah, dude, just like I mean, we would see, and for a few years there, I mean, it was like insane stuff. It was just insane stuff. But, and it's still, don't get me wrong, like my buddy killed a 180-inch typical 10 a couple of years ago, and like he kills, kills like, he killed a 216 there too. That was kind of in the middle. That was probably in like 2000, like maybe 14 or 15. But it's still, I'm not trying to like shit on Ohio.
No,
I'm
not,
but I'm just saying it was like wild back in the day. But to your point, if they restricted and made points.
Yes. It could do crazy stuff, right? Wild. Because I've heard things about like the amount of like 200 plus inch bucks that have come out of Ohio in comparison to other states. And it's like, if they maybe stopped baiting and stopped crossbows and did something like Iowa did, there would be like mega freak 300s, you know. But
and there already has been.
So there has been. I mean, there's the whole
some of the biggest deer. Some of the biggest deer
320s.
Ever yeah.
That's a mega giant. They're 320s. You can't even grow that in a friggin' pen, you know.
They can't. Yes. No, that's big.
That's big.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good state if they. I mean, it still is. And that, you know, the other thing is like I used to, you know, I really like land, and I'm kind of in the real estate game a little bit with stuff. And you know, when I first started going to Ohio, I was like, man, I think someday I'd love to try to buy a 80 out here, like you know, close to my buddies, right? Like and hunt it. And it's like, you know how much an 80 costs right now? Like freaking $600,000.
Really?
Dude, of just timber.
Just
timber in the middle of nowhere.
Just because of deer hunters? It's
like Amish and deer hunters and oil. And, dude, it's like 10,000, 12,000 an acre. I don't know. Let me check that math.
You know where land's cheap?
I've hunted southeast Ohio, and it's mostly just
my bad.
Ugh, about $1 million.
Shit selling for 12,000 an acre. 10,000 an acre is like common.
Jesus. You know where land's cheap? I was looking.
800,000
is West Virginia. West Virginia land's cheap. If you could get a few hundred acres in West Virginia down, I think you could
only counties
grow some deer.
I might know a couple guys down there. Yeah, I think that's
the untamed guys.
Yeah,
I met Josh.
Did you?
Yeah, when he was turkey hunting down in.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Connor brought me down because guys were down
there. I remember it. Yep.
They were like in the middle of nowhere, right?
I know.
Camped on the side of the road.
I hunted with them there for a couple of days.
And I was like, guys, this is where I turkey hunt. I was like, what the hell are you guys doing here? Why did you pick this spot? Kill like 11 turkeys.
I don't know how did we pick that spot? I think that was
well, they weren't shooting a lot of them where they were camping. They were going a little north of there.
They did kill one right next to camp.
Yeah, but they were they were piling them up where I turkey hunt.
Oh, is that where you? Yeah, I remember. I was with John when he shot one up there.
There's birds up there.
Yeah, no, it was a cool area.
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense. But anyway, West Virginia, that's another one I really love to hunt.
Yeah, me too. But back to the Ohio thing, I've been my wife's mother. She grew up in Western Ohio.
Okay.
So I've gone out with them for like Easter last year. Mm-hmm. And for example, I've been out multiple times. But last year for Easter, we went a couple days before Easter. Mm-hmm. And while they were doing a little whatever shopping day, I went down south and I scouted a bunch of public, did some shed hunting. And, it was all right. I saw it was like, But like for me, I have this thing where it's like, okay, there's like this calculation I do in my mind where it's okay, distance from home to how good it is.
Yep.
And if it's not, for me at this point, I'm strictly public guy.
Yep.
I have never had good luck door knocking.
Yeah.
I'd like to get better at it, but I've only ever hunted public.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, if it's not like knock my socks off at 14 hours away, I'm not going.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We found a place. Matt and I scouted a piece of public was that before? It was after before I killed the buck.
That was before because we didn't hunt for the first 2 days.
That's right. We were waiting. We scouted a piece of public in Ohio that was filthy.
Was it good?
Filthy.
We saw like
trying to think if we're gonna give too much away by.
Yeah, don't let it.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm just trying to think of if I say that, will it give too much away?
It just was shredded.
I don't think it will. It's a limited. It's not. It's like a limited draw.
Okay.
Piece of public. So what was it? I looked it all up. I think you had a decent chance of drawing. Like, I don't know if you draw it every year, but you draw.
Mostly they just wanted to know who's in there. Maybe
the thing was that you didn't know what week you were going to get.
Oh,
you were
right.
to put in, which is very tough
to
plan
like
for.
That.
I don't like that either.
That's what it was. So like you could have drawn like October 10th through October like 20th or something, or like
garbage,
or like December. I don't know, whatever. Maybe like archery between like gun seasons late. That's tough.
Yeah.
But it was
there was a lot of deer in there. There was a lot of buck sign, and we saw like a 130 something.
Yeah, pushing 140 8-pointer, just like just standing there like. Yeah. It was good. It was, you could have killed I guarantee you, if you went there the first week in November and hunted for a week, you'd kill a stud there. Yeah. Like I have no doubt in my mind. Like it was like, I was like, this is insane.
There was a couple little terrain features with oaks on top. It was like,
it was beautiful.
And being northeastern deep, guys,
it was deep. Like it was a big piece, and in the back of it was deep. I'm telling you, like deep for
a couple miles in there.
Yeah. Like, and then to come in from the other side, it was like huge pieces of private.
Oh yeah.
Like 1,000 acres. It was, and there was like some old pasture ground way in the back. It was like growing up with like thick cedar. It was just,
drop me a pin. No,
dude. If you actually, I was like, dude, everybody I know should apply for that, because if you drew that tag like for November, it would be amazing.
I want to do PA. Like that's probably next in line for me. Just because, like, from what I'm hearing and stuff.
The deer John killed this past year in PA?
I did.
Yeah.
I want to go. I mean,
dude, did he tell? Well, did you see it finally? The deer he killed in PA. Is it as big as it's big? Right. What did he say it scored? He actually scored it.
Like 150 on the button.
Oh,
8-pointer.
Wow. So it's a mega 8-pointer.
The frame is stupid.
Giant.
Yeah.
Huh?
Public land archery.
Because I've done the
50-inch 8-pointer.
I've done the Catskills.
Yep.
And I loved it.
Yeah.
It's just,
I haven't hunted up in there. Well, for turkeys, I've hunted up there. That's some cool stuff.
It's good. I killed a buck down there.
Yeah. That's some cool stuff.
Tracking, actually.
Did you really?
Yeah. But from what I hear, it's very similar terrain. Mountains, mountain laurel, oak. So I think, it would be fun. And
PA
there's more of it.
Really good.
Yeah.
There's a lot more bucks than here. That's what I saw.
I
hunted.
I like bucks.
I like bucks.
I want to go.
Let's go. I like being at full draw with bucks around.
Dude, You know what I can't wait for? I can't wait to bow hunt an area where there's deer.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, it's fun. It's super fun, dude.
Right?
Yeah, it's a blast.
I think before I venture, because like you were talking about earlier, like where do I want to go and stuff.
Yeah.
I kind of have it in my mind that I want to kill a buck in every state in the Northeast.
Yeah, that's cool.
And so I only have 2 left,
Yeah.
which is Rhode Island and Connecticut.
Yep.
And I've been scouting Rhode Island a little bit, and I haven't really found anything. So I'm kind of picky too. Like, if I'm going to drive 3 hours, it's going to be like, I'm driving 3 hours. Like, there's big stuff.
Yeah.
And Connecticut's kind of like,
I haven't, Connecticut.
And I'm not a suburb guy, dude. Like, if I
And
could,
that's probably where most of the
that's where the big ones are. If I
that's
was,
my problem.
I want to be in the hills.
I don't want to go in that.
No, me neither.
I've had opportunity, particularly in Mass, some spots where I got permission on a spot. Actually, there's a horn laying over there. We could grab. I'll show you. It's a big horn, and I like scouted it and I hunted it one day and I ran cameras for like 3 years and I just like could not bring myself to go down there. I was like, I just don't. Right. It was like suburban urban, like, and it was a commercial park.
Yeah.
And I had permission, and it was like I was literally sitting, and I had permission, but it was like sitting with like a park. And it was like I just don't. I'm good.
And it's not a knock on the guys that do it.
No, I think it's I can't believe they do it. It's super impressive.
It's really
cool. How do you even deal with that shit? I can't believe.
I know it's just
stressful. Like,
yeah.
I'm just like I feel like I'm doing something wrong the whole time.
Exactly.
And like someone's gonna like Karen's gonna come out of the woods and scream at me, and I'm just like I'm terrified.
I've shed hunted the suburban stuff, and this is actually kind of a funny story if you want to talk about shed hunting a little bit.
Sure.
Because my introduction to shed hunting, because I grew up in Vermont, obviously, and I always had the idea of finding sheds. I never found any sheds. And I walked and walked and walked and walked and walked and walked, and I just never would find any sheds. And I was talking to Pat Gayette down in, Pat. Mm-hmm. It's like, dude, I want to get into shed hunting. And, he's like, you come down by me, we'll find some sheds. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, come down. We'll do a podcast and we'll go find some sheds. And I went down and that was like truly my introduction to shed hunting. We found 7 sheds one day in the suburbs.
Pretty damn good. Yeah.
But I almost felt like I was doing something wrong shed hunting. I was like, there's a house. Sneaking.
Yeah.
But that was my introduction. And believe it or not, just finding those few sheds, like that was it. It was like something clicked. And then now.
Shed hunting's so awesome. I wish I had more time, man. It's so awesome. It's, especially when you like see that like a big freaking shed, they like,
dude.
Oh my God.
It's so addicting.
Actually, that's a set of sheds there that I put on that horn. That was a deer that I hunted for 4 years.
It's a good buck.
And he was bigger the next year. But yeah, actually that deer. So look at this is crazy. So that deer next to him and that deer, I saw those deer within 10 minutes of each other.
Wow.
I killed that one, and then he came right after him. It was the wildest morning I've ever had. But anyway, I knew that deer was in there, and I was looking for those sheds. I knew he had dropped, and I just remember coming up on this little bench, and I just saw that big deep spot. I was like, oh my God.
It's so fun.
Dude, it's a blast.
My buddy Connor, he's the one that also like, I went with him a lot because he's like one of the best shed hunters I know. It is a skill. It's weird because it's not something you can measure. Like it's such a weird thing, but
I got a buddy,
you can get good at it.
I got a buddy that hunts a lot of the same stuff that we do, and he's just like, I'll show you another set he found. Actually, he found a set off that deer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had to it was chewed real bad. I had it rebuilt. I'll show you over there. But he's just like a maniac. He just got it figured out. I just never really put the time in. Like I just don't have it. Like
I get it.
I wish maybe when I'm older,
it's
like
a
it's a
time
and
thing.
I'll just walk and walk and walk. But you find the best stuff shed hunting too. That's
all the best stuff
I know. Yeah,
because
that's why.
I mean, a lot of bucks that I've killed, like as of lately, has been because of shed hunting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because I found their sheds. It's because I found the areas shed hunting because you're following buck sign a lot. You're following where the deer, because the deer only navigate certain ways.
There's a lot of people who don't realize that the deer, they could have 1,000 acres, but they're only using 5% of it, and they're going through that 1,000, but they're usually going through the same areas.
You know what's crazy I've noticed? Wherever I set up a tree stand or a saddle spot, usually within sight, there's an old tree stand. There's something to say about that.
There's a reason for that.
There's a reason because it is. They're a creature of habit.
Oh yeah.
In that spot that I found, and I'm like, okay, no brainer.
It's also cool to think that deer have been running that same bench, funnel, whatever saddle for like a long time.
Ever?
That's cool. That's cool to think. Like, oh yeah, they've been coming. I mean, I was thinking about this. I was thinking about that. About something. What day was that? I don't know, like earlier today. But I'm like, I wonder how many years deer have been running through this like terrain feature.
Since the glacier fucking carved it out.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. Yeah. It's just cool to think. And like those spots, like you find them and you just know, like, this is like I found a spot in the Adirondacks. It was just a saddle and it was like perfect. It was just the perfect saddle. And it's tough because saddles aren't all the same. Like some of them I feel like are way too tight and sharp, and some are too big, and some don't have like the right type of stuff leading up to them. This one was just perfect. It was just the perfect saddle. There was 2 like green growth conifer tops on either side, high stuff, nasty thick, like just perfect for a buck to just live in. On one side, there was this big swamp kind of down the drainage. The other side was so deep, and there was a bunch of it was just like perfect. And the size of the saddle was like ideal. It was like tight enough that like it pinched everything, but not so tight that like, I mean, I've found some saddles. It's like you're climbing up to them and they're like knife edges. And it's like, I don't know. Those ones to me don't seem to be as productive. No. But like this one was just like the perfect thing. And I just was like, you just stand up there. You're like, this is perfect. And I ran a camera that was insane. I actually never ended up hunting it, which is silly. Someday I'll go back there. But it's a spot that in 10 years, it's still going to be.
Your grandkids could kill bucks there.
In the woods, it's not dependent on any sort of timber cut. There's no oak in that area because it's kind of like north and it's really high elevation. And it's just, it'll be like that for the next several hundred years. It's just not going to change.
Always been good.
And I just actually I got a shed over there that I found right below it of a buck, pretty good deer. But you just think about how many years that's been like a constant. Some woods change, like a lot of the Adirondack stuff, because they don't cut it, just like to remain, especially if there's not a lot of mass crop in the area. Like you can kind of have beech throughout, but if you don't have the oak, like that's just like almost the same thing year after year
Forever.
after year after year for like, exactly.
And that's why I like hunting the big mountains, because like just what you're talking about, it's consistent, and I can look at a map of a mountainous area, like a mountainous. When I say mountain, I'm talking about what you're talking about, and I can be like, this is going to be a good spot. Yeah. I can almost tell you within 100 feet of where a scrape's going to be. Scrape's going to be right here. Scrape's going to be right here. Scrape's going to be over here. And then I can go through and I can hunt it and be like, yep, scrape here. It's a scrape.
So it's funny, this spot, right? Actually, I found it. It was actually Zach Fahrenbauer and I were looking at the map. We were tracking. I was going to film him the next day, and we just got into some stuff, and we went all day and just didn't really love it. We're like, let's go to a different area. And so we're looking at the map, and I was like, I had looked at that before, and I remember saying to him, this looks like the stuff I hunt at home, and I feel like I know I know where we need to go, like in that spot, like I think we can go right up in here and like find deer right away. Like and he was like, all right, let's go. So we did, and I remember we tracked in there and got on a buck, and we took him up, not quite to that saddle, but right below, and then we jumped him, and he went up high on one of the tops, and we lost, and we just ran out of time, whatever. But we found some insane sign in there, and I remember going back the next year with Bailey Winch.
He's told me about this story.
Okay,
too.
Has he?
Yeah, I've got it from both ends.
Really?
Oh yeah.
And I remember I was like, dude, we gotta go up the saddle. Like and I remember like we got to go up there. I'm like, there's got to be a big freaking scrape right in the middle of it. I'm like, please. And I remember walking up, and we're like getting up in it. I'm like, let's get up on it. I'm like, looking around. I'm like, there it is. It's right there. And I was like, yeah, that's it. And it was just like perfect. Like the perfect, you're right in the middle. It was so perfect.
Right under a beech, probably. It
was spruce.
Was it a spruce?
Yeah, it was a spruce.
Yep.
There might have been. Yeah, it was a spruce. It was actually like a double. There was like 2 spruce.
Double barrel, I call them.
Oh, it was beautiful. And it was that was one of the best. I mean, I don't know. I haven't been back up there. It's just part of it is it's like 2.5 or 3 miles from the truck to get to that saddle. So it's tough. Like I've like thought about you could track in there, and we have, but I thought about how do I hunt that effectively?
Could do a remote camp.
That's what I was thinking. So we had this, I just haven't done it, but I was like spike camp up and then climb the last, like half mile up in the saddle. You'd kill one in probably like 5 days, 3 or 4 days.
It'd be good over there probably early on, I would think.
Late October. I'd have to look at my cameras, but
because from what I've seen over there, it seems like a lot of the bucks that are high and deep, it's really active late October, early November.
I did see that, yeah.
And then they all kind of.
I had some good late stuff though.
Did you?
Yeah,
then something's good.
November 25th. So the year that I had that camera and I scouted, I planned to hunt it. I got super sick in November, and I just was like, dude, it was the whole family was sick, and I just was like, it was terrible. It's so bad that I put a cell up there, just on that scrape, because that was the only place I had service to up on that, up on the top of that. I mean, it was like at, I don't know, pretty close to 3,000 feet.
Nosebleeds.
It was up there, and I had service, so I was like, yeah, great. And I'm like sitting there at home, like watching buck after buck hit the scrape, and I'm just like, I just can't even I just was like, I can't even go up in there. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like I just never did it.
Yep.
And then, I don't know, someday, but like I said, it's a spot where you could go back and it doesn't matter.
Your grandkids
I know about it.
Yeah.
It's figured out. I just got to go do it at some point when I'm, motivated to do it. But, and then the other thing I have now is I have the farm in New York. So I'm like,
it's a different dynamic.
Well, but also it's the same tag.
True.
You know what I mean?
It's a big state, man.
Yeah. It's like, well, if I kill a buck up there, I can't hunt my farm during, before.
Could muzzleloader still.
Yeah.
You get a buck rifle and muzzleloader.
So I could. It just depends how it works. But, yeah.
Yeah.
The Adirondacks are some cool. I mean,
I love it over there.
It's wild. Some of that stuff that, it's
deep.
It's the deepest stuff.
It is. It's
the deepest stuff outside the West.
It is the deepest woods you can get east of
Colorado, Montana.
And I mean, if you really wanted to, measure it, I think it may even be deeper with no roads than a lot of the stuff out in the West. I think it's the biggest.
It could be
biggest in the lower 48, truly, without roads.
Yeah,
because like there's some sections in the southern Adirondacks that are just like 30 miles wide by 25 miles long.
Like when I told you the story about going 8 miles straight in and being in the middle, and it was 8. That's no bullshit. Like,
no, I know.
I'm like, and you know this, but like people, I'm like, no, I'm not exaggerating. We walked in a straight line from the truck for 8 miles in the middle of this piece, and when we stopped, we were still 8 miles from the other side. So that's 16 miles, and like you said, and there's even bigger pieces than that.
Yeah.
In some of those pieces, you got to go like over 4,000 foot mountains to get,
the high peaks wilderness area there. I mean, I don't know if there's deer out throughout the entirety of that thing.
There's some up in there.
I think so. I think there is. I've hunted some of it, but not the middle of it, obviously, because it's almost impenetrable.
Some of it's like nearly impossible.
I've heard back in the day they used to float plane into a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
but now it's illegal.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
you can't do that anymore. But
that'd be freaking cool as
man,
hell.
can you imagine a box back in there? Especially if they have a wintering area back in there,
right? Yeah,
like where they stay.
And they have food. Oh yeah.
Oh
well, so the spot I was talking about, I found the buck shed. Oh, when did we go up in there? I've been in there a few different times. It was opening day of rifle is when I found that scrape.
So like October.
It was like October 20 something.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking, but I found I didn't have any cameras in there or anything, but I brought a couple with me when we went in there, open day rifle, and I hung camera on that scrape, and I hung another one lower on the mountain, whatever. Found it's over there, I'll show you after, but nice, not like a huge deer, but like a good Adirondack buck.
Right.
I found a shed in the swamp, one of those swamps I was telling you about that was still like a high elevation swamp, but not at the top, not at the bottom. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like and I've talked to actually Todd Mead, and he was like, yeah, a lot of those bucks will actually winter up in there in those swamps. I was like, no shit. So got pictures of that buck on that camera, the one I had the shed off next year. And that was one that I bet you if I had put some time in up there in that saddle, I would have killed him. But pretty cool. It's cool stuff. It's so big.
My brother just sent me a map picture of my family has a camp in northwestern New York. With like 200 acres that we take care of, but it's like 45 minutes from there, so it's the northwest corner of the park, but could use that as like a base camp. He's like, we got to go take a look around. There's actually cutting there, and there's a bunch of swamps in the middle of it, so
there's to do it, man. So, and that's the thing, like if you have, I just am like, with my life right now, my priorities have shifted a bit, which I'm actually, you would think, like a lot of people see that, like when you, maybe you're in your shoes and you're not, you see it as that's potential, like I don't want, but it's not, like I don't see it as a negative. I actually am like I like where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so I'm great with it. It's awesome. But like if you're in a stage where you're like really into that, like you can really put the time in and like go and chase shit. And I'm kind of like, I don't know. We'll see. Like I wonder if I'm 38. If I stay in good shape, I can probably make it till my kids are 18. So like, yeah, I'm thinking like maybe when I'm in my like mid to late 50s, maybe I'll go hard, like real hard again, like I did before. Like, why not? Like, I should have time and like be able to do it.
It'll be like old Timmy.
And so anyway, but if you have the time and you can do it, like it's such a I'm glad that I did the stuff that I did when I like could, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
And some people like just, they and it's fucking awesome, but they mar their whole life, like not gonna have kids, maybe they're not getting married, or maybe they get married and it's not like their spouse understands and accepts that, hey, they're gonna be like they're gonna hunt when they're gonna hunt, that is what it is. And they've like like you or whoever else is is self-employed and can make your own schedule, well then that's great. You don't ever have to stop.
Right.
But yeah, man.
Until I have kids.
Yeah, but if
I know it's going to slow down.
It is, and I wouldn't look at it as like a negative.
No,
because like
because
I feel like because I feel like I used to a little bit, like it's gonna be like oh shit, it's gonna kind of suck. I don't look at it like that.
Life's not all about killing deer.
No, I mean it really isn't.
Like, I know that. Yeah. So,
but it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty fun.
You should do it when you can. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. And like I said, like I'm like, I don't really need to go crazy. I'm like, but I'm gonna still keep shooting. I'm not saying that I'm not gonna shoot. I'm gonna still keep shooting them when I can. It's just it may look a little different. But
dial in the home range a little bit. That's it.
Just get things that work a little better and can do on short notice. And that's like, hey, it's just like your dad, like got you into it, gave you that passion, that love, and that honestly the gift of like deer hunting. Like I want to do that for my boys and my girls if they're interested in it, right? I don't know if they will be, but if they are, great. If not, that's fine too. But like I want to be able to give them and the experience and introduce them to it and help them along. If they're, like I said, they want to do it. So that's almost like just as important to me to pass it on, because like really they're going to be carrying on the legacy and the tradition when we're gone and dead. And I always think like, what the hell is going to happen to these damn deer that like I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, where are these things gonna go?
Gonna be in a roadhouse in Illinois. Exactly. That one's gonna be one's gonna be in a breakfast joint in Georgia.
It's like
I mean, that's where they go.
It's like whatever. I don't know. Like where are they?
But that's what life's about. Is like passing it on and keeping it going.
Yeah. Because that's all you got at the end of the day. And then when you're dead and gone, well, if you pass it on, great. And so anyway, got anything, Matt? Probably a good time to wrap, would you say? Yeah,
it was a good one. How long do we go for?
This is probably the longest one.
I don't know. I started recording another file, so
over two.
Well, it's
2.5
past
probably.
10 o'clock. Oh, it's longer than that, dude.
Oh, it's been a good one. I've enjoyed it. But I do a podcast too, so I think that's where it gets dangerous when you get two. Because I've done it too, where when you get another guy who has a podcast, that's where the conversation doesn't want to end because you're like, oh, and then you just keep But that was great. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming down.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
we'll do it again.
Plug your podcast. Go for it.
Yeah, for sure. And your YouTube channel, which we kind of talked about, but go for it.
Yeah, the YouTube channel is just my name, Izaak Young. It's Izaak, a little weird spelling, Young, and spelled how it sounds. And the podcast is The Big Buck Theory, and we upload every Friday morning. So
good deal. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, watching. If you watched, we'll see you on the next one. Isaac's a full draw already. He's ready for this.